Hello and welcome to week 2, day 2 of the Overwatch Pacific Championship. You're joining into the English broadcast with myself and Easy, bringing you all the action. We've got a ton of amazing games lined up today.
Yes, we do indeed. Obviously the back-to-back with Blank, followed by the back-to-back from Flash Wolves and Marchi as well to finish us off there. Obviously you guys got to see a little bit of a sneak peek there just to start us off. Super excited for tonight's matches though.
Yeah, I mean, Blank got this is a big weekend for Blank in particular. 3 games, you can pretty much say 3 games in a row because they were the last team to play last night. They're going to be the first team to play again today. And also, straight after their first game, right on to playing against Flash Wolves. Let's take a look at HQ, the first team lined up.
是 HQ 的教练一号，虽然说我们的阵容有点跟动，不过因为我们有一些比较老的成员，之前在大陆受训过3、4个月，所以不论是基本功或是一些经验，都会比台湾的一般选手来得好。
中国的队伍有很多，有些他们的角色玩得很精专，每张地图有一些很特殊的点位，可以学到一些小技巧。
张达是一个很强的输出手，曾经跟他当过队友，可是我觉得我们现在队上的输出其实不会比他弱，
因为队友都很好相处吧，就比较没有困难吧。
请大家多多支持我们 HQ Overwatch 战队，关注我的粉丝，可以继续为我们团队加油打气。
当然还是拿台湾冠军，因为我觉得我们实战经历比较多，拿下冠军是理所当然的。
希望其他竞争对手可以加油一点。
I think HQ are going to definitely be feeling the pressure of this game as well. They know they're going up against an absolute powerhouse.
Most definitely, and I think this is really going to set the tone for the evening here as well. Obviously AHQ had a bit of a struggle against Flash Wolves, and obviously if they do struggle against Blank as well, it's sort of going to set what we sort of talked about last night, you know, the pecking order of these teams. Taking a look at Blank now though.
I am Arcadian game and I play support as main. Our biggest strength of the team is probably the fact that we've actually been together for quite a long time now. We communicate well and mechanical skill is actually pretty high level. Biggest weakness with our team right now is the hero pools.
One of the difficulties playing as a flex player is just having a big hero pool. Playing different heroes every time, it's hard to get used to.
Very cool to come to Taiwan where the country is a lot more serious about esports.
I make intelligent decisions. I did have to quit my job as a software developer to play here, and I think this is one of the big steps in that direction.
Main goal coming to the tournament is to win, definitely get first place.
To show that Australia is still formidable in esports and to come first place.
Obviously winning, coming first place and getting the money, and also proving to the international scene that Australia isn't a joke.
Being the favourites in the tournament actually gives us confidence. I think any team we play against here is going to have a hard time in online tournaments where we've been on 150 to 200 ping, and I don't see now being any different.
It's interesting because I actually spoke to Gumbo earlier in the week as well. He sort of mentioned that in preparation for HQ in preparation for going up against both AHQ and Flash Wolves, realistically he sees them as very similar teams that have similar sort of compositions, play styles, and just generally how that team works. So for them, he kind of felt that preparing for Flash Wolves was in a way also preparing for HQ, so that he didn't really need to target either of the teams specifically. If he targeted one team, he kind of got both.
And I think the other thing as well is that they are going to have to sort of save some of their, I guess, really good strategies for that Flash Wolves game. I mean, if AHQ managed to bait out some of these sort of maybe hidden strategies or lineups that Blank have been practicing with, that's going to be very detrimental, I suppose, to their success tonight, because Flash Wolves, they are going to be able to watch this first match and get a feel for obviously how Blank are playing. And the other thing to note there as well is a little birdie on the Twitter did say from the mouth of Trill actually that 4 out of the 6 members from the Blank side are actually feeling under the weather today. So I don't know if it's the curry they've eaten over there or if they've been kissing ATAR a little bit too much, but that could play in their disadvantage as well.
Good night kisses from ATAR before you hit the bed.
Good night, my sweet prince.
Yes. I'm not going to go any further with that. I was going to mention something extra about the curry. Don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. But here's the thing. For Blank, it's a big pressure game. They have to really show up against HQ. Like you sort of said, Flash Wolves are going to be watching, but I don't think Blank can really afford to. They can't really afford to let anything go even in the HQ game. They can't afford to give HQ too much room either. They don't want to really show any weakness to HQ, especially in front of Flash Wolves, but at the same time, you have to be able to, for them, they want to still get a 3-0 win, right? That's for Blank. They want to be able to get the most dominating performance still that they can. They have to show that they're forced to be reckoned with, especially going up against Flash Wolves right after.
I mean, we actually heard it from Atar as well in that interview last night before he obviously kissed everyone into sickness. The confidence coming out from him, saying if they played the way they played last night, they expect a 3-0 both of these matches tonight. Yep. So I guess they really do want to build that confidence and really work on that momentum, from last night's match against Fireball, coming up against AHQ, set the tone with another 3-0, and then obviously the big one against Flash Wolves there as well. Sort of going to be interesting to see.
And this is a preview of it isn't a preview, it just straight up is the top two teams playing against each other. This is the heavyweight match, if you will. I mean, I think most people by now, after seeing, 3 days worth of competition, these are going to be the top two teams on everybody's list, and we're going to finally find out which one is the better team. Now, Gumbo actually mentioned earlier on in the week, he does feel like after week 1, Flash Wolves look like the better side. Now that Blank have got a bit more practice under the belt. Atar said last night that realistically, if they play strong again like they did last night, 3-0 isn't out of the question.
Definitely, that was a very dominating performance for them against Fireball last night. I guess the other thing to see as well is we're going to see how far Marchi have come since last weekend as well, see if they've sort of had a chance to step up their game. And upon the conversation of, Blank versus Flash Wolves and AHQ, this is only going to be the first of the 4 times that they are going to have to meet each other throughout the pool play. So it's, I guess, still the first of many, of these Clash of the Titans to come throughout the following weeks.
Yeah, I would almost I kind of say AHQ versus Blank is a bit of a Clash of Titans as well. And going off week 1's performances, Flash Wolves already 3-0'd AHQ. If Blank don't do the same thing, that's not going to look too much in their favor than going against Flash Wolves, particularly because, Gumbo already said it, HQ and Flash Wolves function quite similarly. If Blanks struggle against HQ, then you could almost take that to being that they probably might struggle against Flash Wolves as well.
And I guess the other thing as well is that I think there obviously has been a new patch in Overwatch as well, and they're not truly playing on that one just yet. They're waiting for the kinks to be worked out. I think once that comes into effect as well, there's this whole extra amount of learning curve that these players are going to have to go through as well, sort of adjusting to this new patch on the fly. I don't think we're obviously going to see Lucio being picked up as much as we have seen him.
Well, the thing is, all teams are going to be scrimming on the current patch, so despite not playing the current patch in tournament, they're going to be scrimming outside of the tournament. They're not playing on tournament realm at home. They're going to still be scrimming on the current patch. So I think that being the case, they're going to be fairly well practiced on the new patch. And I actually think they're going to be less practiced. Every single team for this particular weekend is going to be under practice for... I guess it's not really true because all the sort of time you've had before playing. So it's just kind of an interesting dynamic between when you're scrimming, you're on a different patch, but then coming onto tournament weekend, you've sort of gone backwards in a patch. So that's a very interesting thing as an extra factor to consider.
I mean, just while we're on the topic of that, how do you feel about this new Lucio? I see that really changing the meta quite a bit. I don't think he's so effective in dive composition anymore now because obviously, that reduced radius on the heal. I think that's going to really sort of kick him a little bit out of the, that dive comp meta. Maybe Zenyatta is going to come into the fray a lot more. How do you feel about this?
I think Zenyatta's naturally been, before Anna was really in play, Zenyatta was the go-to for dives. So seeing Zenyatta back into play is definitely a possibility. But I also don't think Lucio's going to go away just yet. I think Lucio is still in a decent spot. I think they just made it so he's more specialized in a particular role rather than being so all-encompassing. It's giving other supports a little bit more room to shine, which I think is good.
The other thing I was just going to talk about there as well is that I feel like we're going to see a lot of these players because they are so mechanically skilled that we're going to see almost some of these assassin Lucio plays. I really sort of mentioned I love seeing when the Lucio gets really aggressive and sort of him getting some of those really quick wall rides around behind, going for an early boop on the bridge on some of those maps. I think is going to be very exciting to watch out for.
Yeah, and for Blank as well, they've got really good players. There's ways. All of these teams are very creative as well. I've seen some really amazing Lucio plays from time to time, even without all the extra damage, even without all the wall riding boosts and all sorts of like that. If you want to be creative, there's ways on particular maps. Lijiang comes to mind as one of the key maps where you can really get really a lot of environmental kills and things like that. But yeah, this is actually the schedule for the entire day. So the home team to start things off with is going to be HQ against Blank, who are then going to move on to the home team against Flash Wolves. Flash Wolves are going to stay on the home side against Machi, and then Detonator will also be on the home side against Machi as well. The thing about this that's really interesting is, in terms of home and away, HQ start on the home side, but Blank versus Flash Wolves, I think that works in Blank's favor definitely to be on the home side today.
Yeah, we're taking a look now at AHQ. Obviously, we saw some great stuff coming out from Kalman and Dizzy in the first weekend there. But obviously someone, again, to really look out for, Eric in on that tank, and Lazy Titan as well. Both of them being very standout tank players, and we talked a little bit about this last night, about some of these standout tank players, and I think AHQ have a pair of some of the best tanks in this tournament.
Absolutely, and Ericin's going in with the "you what mate" face as well. But I really got to commend Eric in on the first weekend, particularly against Flash Wolves. He had the sort of tank play, particularly on the Winston, that I felt did a fantastic job of playing on objective and playing towards your team's objective. Now, in terms of fulfilling his own individual role, he did a fantastic job of, in particular, shutting down Zonda, really keeping Zonda away. Now, the fact that HQ still lost despite Eric in basically staying on top of Zonda the entire game, I think that really separates those two sort of teams. And HQ, we said this already, but they had a rather weak performance against Flash Wolves. Now, it wasn't like a completely one-sided game. I think HQ had some good moments there, but at the same time, you kind of expect a little bit more out of HQ against Flash Wolves, and now going up against Blank. HQ, this is an opportunity for them as well. For, after sort of losing the advantage against Flash Wolves, they now need to have a better showing against Blank.
Oh yeah, we've got the side of Blank here. I think, again, you've really got to watch out for Trill. Again, we've seen him time and time again sort of be that standout tank player, and coming up against the likes of Eric and Lazy Titan, he's really going to have his work cut out for him tonight. But Kiki was doing a lot of sort of, I guess, undercover plays last night, in the behind the scenes, not so flashy, but I think he really pushed Blank over the edge.
I think Kiki's a really good anchor sort of player for his team. He's just an overall team member that his entire team can sort of play around.
Well, they don't look sick here, by the way. They look like they're having a good time.
They look a lot more healthy.
Good bit of banter going here on the side of Blank.
Yeah, I'm definitely loving the new player cams as well. Like, really taking advantage of that.
We got some nice shots of AHQ's haircuts and their foreheads as well. So
I quite like their haircuts, actually. I think they've been quite creative with that.
Oh yeah, definitely a little bit better than the side of Blank.
Like I was saying, you're sort of on your points made pretty clear with the fact that Kiki, I guess, doesn't show up as big as Trill. I think Trill has bigger moments, but Kiki is a reliable, solid player that the fact that you don't see him as much, I feel like he's still able to do his job and essentially set the other team members up for their massive plays and really allow them to shine, even though he doesn't take a lot of the credit himself.
Yeah, but something obviously to look out for as well is going to be this first map is most likely, what's always going to be Control, obviously, to see how they're going to deal with Zonda's Pharah. It's going to be Trill most likely going to be playing the Pharah on the side of Blank, and how these two are going to match up, I think, is going to be the real decider in our first map here.
I mean, against Flash Wolves.
Oh, sorry, no.
Yeah, well, against Flash Wolves, if you're talking about Zonda, against Flash Wolves, that's going to be our next
Totally
game
jumping
afterwards.
ahead, jumping ahead there.
Before we get to Flash Wolves, against AHQ, if we see any sort of Pharah play, it's going to be Dizzy. Now, interestingly, in the interview last night as well, Atos said he's not on the Pharah anymore. They've decided Trill is the better Pharah, so they're going to play Trill on that. The only thing about that is if Blank want to play a 2-2-2 composition, that means Atos does have to play the Pharah, because Trill's naturally going to be on the tank. So if Trill plays the Pharah, that means they're essentially guaranteed to be playing a 3 DPS composition.
And I guess the other thing to note as well is, are they going to try to do one of those strategies where they actually don't go for the Pharah and they try to make, I guess, if AHQ do pick the Pharah, because they are quite, I guess they rely on the Pharah a little bit. If they try to do that thing, which you sort of mentioned last night, try to get the Pharah to switch off, and if they do look for those two hero switch offs, if they do run that pharmacy combo, they end up getting that ultimate advantage very, very early on.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like I sort of noted last night, if Blank run a pharmacy combo, they're kind of stuck running that composition because they have to swap multiple players off their roles and off the characters to get back to a more standard composition that they want to run. So if they end up running pharmacy, it's actually going to be Nepal. That's interesting because we haven't seen any, aside from the one Nepal tiebreaker that Blank had to play against Detonator, I believe, we haven't seen a single Nepal map so far.
And yes, this has obviously been picked by the likes of AHQ, so it's going to be interesting to see, what they've got planned for us here.
I think HQ are quite confident with their tracer play. Kalman, I'm pretty sure is their main tracer player, and he has had some pretty decent moments on there as well. Putting Eric back on the Winston, which is what I'm assuming for the majority of Nepal. Reinhardt's not out of the question either, but I really do rate Eric N's Winston, so that's something to look out for.
Yeah, Kalman really trying to get Blank to move out of the way. Am I right?
Yeah. Something like that.
Oh, I'm shocking this evening. Shocking this evening.
And also Dizzy is their primary Pharah player, but Dizzy as well. Both of these DPSs, I feel so far, work quite well together. That was really the big thing that was lacking against Flash Wolves, is Dizzy and Cowman versus it was Bacon Jack and Zonda. So compared to Bacon Jack and Zonda, Dizzy and Cowman couldn't really step up. But now against Blank, it's a very different sort of team. Yes, Flash Wolves and HQ might play similar, but I don't think Blank plays similar to either of the Taiwanese teams. So it's interesting. This is a little bit of a preview of what we're going to see with Flash Wolves versus Blank as well. So we're going to get a gauge on where both of these teams currently sit.
And it's something I sort of talked about last night as well. You know, when you look at some of these teams, I think it was Hong Kong Attitude last night. You know, Xiaoyu on the Tracer there is very methodical, very slow at sort of pushing up towards the map, you know, getting in those flanking positions. And when Blank play, they've got that real just brute force straight down the guts, right up in your face sort of mentality when it comes to taking these fights. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two sort of play styles match up against. But we've got the map preview here. Look at this, just looks beautiful, doesn't it?
Now we're back onto full circle map previews. Nepal, haven't seen this one in a while. I'm kind of, I don't know why teams haven't gone for this one. They haven't gone for Ilios either. That's really interesting. We've only seen Ilios and Nepal as tiebreakers, but no team so far has actually picked these.
I mean, what's the weather like in Taiwan right now?
I got no idea.
Don't know what the season is there? Probably why they keep going for Oasis. Maybe it's a bit cold over there right now.
Maybe. I think Oasis is just one of those maps that teams are now feeling really great on. They compositionally anyway, like I can see why teams like Detonator want to pick it. You want to put Anakin on the ferry. I can see why Flash Wolves want to pick it. You want to put Zonda on the ferry. You want to do all these sort of things. Maybe you have a really good sort of Sombra play on that as well. So I can definitely understand. But here we go, HQ, they're feeling it on Nepal.
Oh, Kalman going to be hitting up a Zarya here as well. And it's Eat Up as well on the Zarya. So both of these teams, they've obviously got a little bit of a mirror strategy going on here. That DPS player opting to go on the Zarya, looking to get for that 3-tank lineup.
Early charge from Trill onto Eric already takes him down. Now that Blank got rid of Eric they can just sort of play the rest of this map a little bit slow. Play the rest of the sort of fight and just push out HQ. Without a Reinhardt, there's really not a lot of damage they can take here before they go down.
Yeah, Blank getting a very early position up in the front lines. Should be able to get that first cap, and indeed they do. ATAR going to be up on the Genji as well. One of the favorites here. Gumba getting very close to the nano boost, and the Trill going to be taken down here as Kalman comes charging through. They find themselves a pair, make that a triple, and they charge right back onto the point and push Blank right back home.
I actually really like the way HQ played that last situation. They lost Eric they decided to back up. Not going to take a fight without that Reinhardt. As soon as Eric comes back, they targeted Trill. Trill goes down. Now this time Blank don't have a tank to sort of play with, and HQ they completely exploit that. Don't allow Blank any sort of room to move back, and now they're sitting in a great position. Got the spawn camp going on. Graviton ready to go as well. Trill makes the first dive in. Nano play coming up from ATAR. Gets one target onto Eric. Looking for number 2, but can't really find anything so far.
He's just slashing in the air right now. They need to take Kalman down. They do manage to find him. I think that early fight was taken down. They gave Kalman just a little bit too much charge, and he just got so much done on the Zarya there. And Blank answer back with a quick counter attack here as well, pushing off a couple of these AHQ players. Should be able to regain control of the point as well. This one's going neck and neck, AVRL.
Now HQ are going to come back in just due time. They don't want to give away too much of this cap, but I feel like they're giving away kills. They're just sort of bleeding players a little bit. Titan does take down Trill, so that's something that they can work with. And Dizzy is uncontested, takes down Gumba. That's something less supports on the side of Blank is definitely going to affect their ability to keep this point going.
But with them obviously not contesting, Dizzy is getting all of that free time over on the side there, just raining death on the side of Blank. Their sound barrier coming in now for the side of AHQ as they push back onto the point. They eat up right there and take him down as well. And they should be able to get control back of the point, slightly ahead of Blank in this situation. And now, again, being able to camp this choke point here is going to be very good for AHQ as they move in.
Dizzy's really making the McCree work as well. So far, pretty unchallenged. You kind of want ATAR to get in his face a little bit, or either Kiki or ATAR, maybe both of them at the same time to really shut him down. But so far, that's a Deadeye as well. Blank just going to be happy to let the one charge for a bit. They're going to lose Eat Up, but Dizzy finally goes down to ATAR. This might now be opportunity time. ATAR goes in, takes down Eddie Boss, looking for number 2 now. Gets Eric in as well. This is the ATAR performance that Blank really needed to get themselves back on the point.
But that Graviton there keeping a lot of these players withheld just for a brief moment there, giving AHQ a little bit of breathing room. But ATAR all over the AHQ right now, getting a lot of work done up here on the Genji. Going to be Gumba to finish off Crappy up in the back lines there. And now Blank want control of this point. Self-destruct coming in. 90% as well. And Kalman falls down as well. Blank managing to stagger some of these respawns here, buying themselves some time against the side of AHQ as they cross 90%. Blank do have their work cut out for them moving into the rest of this round.
And welcome to the ATAR show. Get your tickets. This man's going on. He's absolutely going off currently, 40% to 92%. It's not all over for Blank just yet. They've got a lot of work still to do. HQ, they can afford to throw away a couple of fights, but they can probably give up the next fight, go for a push, maybe around the 70 to 80% mark of Blank, and they can still really be able to take it for Blank. This is do or die. They have to get every single fight win.
And when it starts like that, it looks good for them. They pick up 3 right there. Oh, it's going to be the mech, actually. I do tell a lie. And they do have that ultimate advantage working out in their favor as well. Now, Blank need to get very aggressive here, probably hold that choke point and not give Kalman any room here to build up some charge. But they do back off just very slightly as they wait for the rest of the team to respawn. They are going to be working in there. Now Kalman builds up a bit of charge here as well, looking to take a lot of damage, and ATAR going to be nano boosted here. Doesn't have the Dragon Blade up just yet. Here it comes. Oh, he's got such good position, but what a sleep dart and a flashbang together, stopping this one in its tracks, and he gets taken down there. But EatUp is there to clean up in the front lines as well. Now Trill got that Earth Shatter as well. They're going to be relying a lot on this in this next fight here. Graviton Surge coming out from Kalman, looking to get a lot done here for the side of AHQ. The Nano Boost coming in as well, looking to swing some doom there on the Reinhardt. He's getting a lot of work done with this one as well, but the rest of Blank managing to back off just very slightly here. But EatUp getting caught out of position. If they can take him down, this is going to work out very well for AHQ, but they don't find the kill, and now they're split up.
And 99% HQ, they do have the cap. Eric towards the Earth Shatter. He did end up using it. I don't know what he actually caught. Lazy Titan takes control. In the meantime, the fight's not all over yet. Both teams need to secure this currently. Crappy's still got a sound barrier to go, but I don't see him anywhere close to the cap, and HQ are falling over. The cap goes over. Blank are going to take Sanctum.
A little bit of a misplay there at the end by AHQ, looking like they had that one. Didn't really realize, obviously, EatUp over on the side, not finishing that kill off allowed for him to get right back in there and clean up the rest of those AHQ players as they trickled onto the point.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty close game though, 99 to 99. HQ, if there were any doubts about their ability to keep up with Blank, I feel like those doubts are kind of silent so far. It's a little bit too much to say, maybe just looking at one stage of a single map, but out of that performance, Dizzy had a really great show himself as well. Good eyes on target, flashbangs on target. ATAR with the Nano Blade completely shut down flashbang into a sleep dart. I mean, that sort of combo, that's 2 ultimates annihilated and eliminated for no trades.
I mean, very interesting to note. You saw Apudo last night on the McCree got really a lot of pressure put on him, but in this one, the McCree got a lot of free time to go to town. Kalman going to be switching up to the Genji. Let's see if he can match ATAR's Genji in this one.
ATAR still just sort of going for it. Boss taking down Gumbo, start things off as well. So HQ going to look to really convert the additional kills, and they're really doing it currently. Only 3 members alive for Blank. ATAR goes down as well, and only RQT and EatUp are going to make their way out of there. I'm assuming, no, I assumed a little bit too early because Dizzy is not going to give Blank any room to work. They're cleaning up 5 kills. They got a lot of ultimate charge off that.
Yeah, he's making me a little bit dizzy here as well with his work in the back lines there. He's so very good at obviously getting in these positions, doing a lot more work here on the Tracer. I think a lot of that fight was won actually by his early damage there, finding that early pick. Obviously the Ana finding the final kill there. Look at Eric N's positioning right here, gets right up into the back lines. Beautiful stuff from him there, but great charge as well from the side of Blank to really convert that one into a kill of their own. And now they're looking to push in there, but Dizzy got that pulse bomb. He finds the stick, picks up a pair as well with that, and that's going to really open things up for AHQ. Dizzy going to town right now on this Tracer.
And Dizzy's not just stunned yet. I thought he might have gone for Trill there as well. Kabiro grenade landed on 2, but what a second then into a 3rd kill. I mean, AHQ are really pulling themselves further and further ahead, looking at about 40% now. Blank are finally getting themselves on ultimates. EatUp has to get the stick of his life, but they got to go up against the Nano Blade from HQ. There goes the Nano Boost now. Kalman as well. Blade is out. ATAR is just trying to keep things alive, but so far Kalman's got himself 2, gets himself 3, and Dizzy picks up the 4th. EatUp suicide, so does ATAR. Blank going to go for another reset, but they don't have many resets left until they lose.
Yeah, Blank really struggling on this one and falling quite far behind. They really need to make this next fight work out in their favor. Going to have a lot of ultimates in the bank to work with, but look at the side of AHQ. They have enough to probably counterplay this one out. Got that sound barrier to work with as well. I think a lot of this is going to come down to the sound barrier timing on both of these Lucio players there. Eric in again. Very good positioning from him just to delay that fight just a little bit as well. Lazy Titan as well, right up in the front lines. Now Eric re-engages right in. The sound barrier coming up from the side of Blank. AHQ have used theirs as well. ATAR finds Kalman, and that's going to be a very good one there as well. But Dizzy still left alive, going to work up in the back lines of Blank still. This is the player they need to deal with.
Oh, there's a couple of members still alive for AHQ. They're actually committing ultimates back in onto this. Eric doesn't want to let it go just yet. He's got to pay for it with his life. So does Eddie Boss. AHQ mistakes were made. Should have given that one up to Blank, who walked in with 5 ultimates, no less. No way Blank was not going to win that fight. HQ should have been able to identify that, give that fight up, re-attack. They're already on 96%, so they've got a lot of time to work with.
They do indeed. They can't afford to lose a couple of fights moving through the rest of this one here. AVRL getting in that Genji battle with Kalman there. Do have that Earth Shatter on Trill to work with. Slight ultimate advantage obviously in the side of Blank there. The play from Eric N. This is what I've talked about before. The skill in which these, the Winston and the D.Va sort of go back and forth together. It's very good to sort of start things off. And look at that from Dizzy getting around in the back lines yet again. Very uncontested as well. Got the pulse bomb. Finds another there as well. Onto Trill as well. He did use the Earth Shatter there. Didn't find too much with that as well. So that's disastrous for Blank. AHQ should be able to recap this one here.
Cowman and Dizzy going to town, and Dizzy's been probably the MVP of HQ so far, always landing the sticks and landing them on the correct players as well. Pulse bombs just everywhere, and AVRL, nothing he can do about that. And look, what was a very close Sanctum game, this Shrine map has so far been very much in HQ's control. Aside from that one fight win that Blank had, which cost them 5 ultimates to achieve, aside from that, they really struggled.
Yeah, I think the composition really wasn't the issue there as well. It was purely came down to Dizzy and his positioning a lot of the time. I don't think Blank really had an answer for him. And a few times, you sort of mentioned it last night, how EDUP gets in these one-on-one tracer battles. You know, Dizzy, these times where EDUP tries to get the flank of his own. Dizzy's there to stop him, make him engage with him for a little bit longer. Dizzy gets the ultimate advantage always, manages to find the perfect pulse bomb onto one of the more high-value targets, and then just clean up the rest of the Blank.
Well, the thing about HQ is that opening fight with the 5 kills really cost Blank so much. Blank get any more coming into Village on the pole as well.
Oh, well, it's going to be Trill up on the Pharah, finding a lot of damage to start this one off. They're going to be running the pharmacy combo, but Gumba goes down as well. They do find Eric, though, so that without that Winston, AHQ going to have a hard time to put pressure on the back line of Blank here. And now Trill looking for blood up in the front lines, but it's going to be Dizzy again in this one-on-one tracer battle with EDUP, but he can't do anything without the rest of his team there. Blank going to get the opening cap of this one.
And Blank really needed that. They need the opening advantage. They need to have... they need to be able to get a little bit of momentum going for them. HQ, after Dizzy went off so big, he got such an early pulse bomb, but this time all he gets is rockets to the face.
And beautiful preemptive rocket there to take out Dizzy, to delay this fight a little bit longer. Kalman switching over to the Soldier, seeing if he can deal with Trill, and it's going to be...
That's a good change-up.
Well, let's see if it works out for their favor right now, because Trill's looking hot here. That rocket into the face of Dizzy was absolutely immense to really sort of start this one off, and now Kalman they do have the control of the high ground. Trill eating a lot of damage here, but they are going to be forced to back off ever so slightly. Trill getting very close to that barrage as well. A lot of this is going to come onto that. EDUP getting very low as well. AVRL finding the kill onto Eric over on the side though. And now with Dizzy taking down EDUP, that's going to be quite a good opener now as Dizzy wants to go to work.
He's really opening up plays for HQ, despite the fact that HQ are nowhere to be found in terms of presence. Dizzy is here, Dizzy is doing damage, he's getting kills, and HQ should be able to capitalize off this, but HQ actually need to be able to push. They're just losing plays again.
Well, AVRL finds him in the back lines there, and Dizzy, he's so elusive on that tracer, but they are starting to get a little bit of a read on the way he's playing there. AVRL around the back does manage to pick him up again. Got those 3 ultimates now, make that 4 to work with on the side of Blank. AHQ still a little bit away yet, so Blank looking very good, passing 65% now. Are we going to see another 100 and 0?
I'd say it's unlikely, but at the same time, HQ, I don't think Kalman Soldier's currently working out so well for them. Crappy going down very early in this push as well. Eric he's really struggling this game. I feel like he's just being taken out left, right, and center. RQT going down might just give HQ the opportunity they need to take down Trill, who's on 20 health, has to leave the fight. Eddie Boss goes down to AVRL. So far, Blank hold on.
And EDUP cleaning up these last few kills here. Trill really opened that one up with a lot of damage early on into the fight with the rockets there. Calls for his teammate EDUP to get in there. Self-destruct now coming onto the point. Lazy Titan going to fall down here as well. Sound barrier being used from the side of Blank here. AHQ managing to get some cap time on this. Blank do manage to commit some players and stop that one. Overtime ticking down now. Can AHQ find themselves a touch onto the point? Yes, they can. They keep it alive. Now Eric N's going to be back as well. We've seen him do great work at staggering this point. Very close to the Primal Rage. Gets straight in there as well. He should be able to hold this one out for AHQ. They want to keep this one alive. RQT, though, does have the Resurrect in hand. Can he find anything with that? The Blank players can afford some deaths right now onto the point. They
they won't even need it.
But they don't even need it.
Overtime going to take right down AHQ, 0% for them. They're not even going to get a single cap. I feel like they struggled against the triple DPS. Now, Blank have been really successful with the triple DPS lineup so far. They didn't run it last time, but they didn't run it on Shrine. They didn't really have to, but running it here on Village, you see the immediate change up. Yeah, Dizzy was still doing work on Tracer, which is pretty
But when the rest of your teams did.
Pretty impressive in and of itself, but for Cowman, changing up to the Soldier, he kind of didn't really counter Trill that well. I would have preferred, and this is a little bit more difficult, but if Dizzy was on the McCree instead of the Tracer, maybe if Cowman jumps on the Tracer instead, it does require a couple of extra chains ups, but the McCree counters the Fairy a little bit better, but also deals with the Genji and the Tracer at the same time with Flashbang, so would have probably worked out a little bit better. We'll see.
Oh, Dizzy onto the McCree though.
Going back onto the Shrine, this is exactly what they need. They need to get Dizzy back on the McCree to deal with Trill.
And Trill is going to have a bit of a hard time up in the sky. Doesn't manage to find too many hit markers here to start us off with. Needs to find an opening pickup here to make this fire really work out. They are stacked up here on the left side here, so AHQ looking to stick together now. Dizzy trying to stay alive up in the back lines. Not much pressure being put onto him just yet. He does manage to drop him down to half HP, but they lose Eat Up in the process. Dizzy finds a shot onto him, opening it up for AHQ, and they can't give away this early advantage if Blank want a chance at staying alive on this first point, and it gets capped by AHQ.
Now, Blank are actually getting a couple of kills in response. Atar had an extremely quick Dragon Blade. How did he get that so fast?
Oh,
he actually manages to get 4 kills. Eat Up cleans up the 5th, and the opening advantage for AHQ completely eliminated. Atar just unleashed.
Well, we definitely need to get our tickets to the Atar show right here. He's being an absolute monster on the Genji here this evening. He might have made the rest of his team sick, but he's not sick himself. RQT getting close to the...
He's pretty sick.
He's a sick player, that's for sure. Eat Up getting close to the Pulse Bomb as well now, so Ultimate's in the favor here of Blank. Kalman, though, got close to that Graviton Surge, got a lot of charge to work with here as well, but gets taken down by Atar, the man, keeping this one up for Blank.
Yep, all the charge, but none of the health, and HQ are going to just lose time inside. This is a very different performance that HQ are giving versus the last time we saw them on Shrine 2 maps ago. Now, Blank got the early advantages, going early Dragon Blade. Last time was Dizzy with the early Tracer Pulse Bomb. Nothing to work with now. They have a Graviton Surge. This is what HQ are going to really be able to rely on, but they have to dodge Kiki's Matrix as well to get this to work.
Yeah, and Trill obviously going to have that barrage as well, so if they do stack up, AHQ very good at playing in this close...
Oh, got eaten!
Oh, and it gets eaten for dinner right now. Well, absolutely great stuff there coming in from Kiki. We've seen him do it before. Here comes that self-destruction to the point. Doesn't find anything with that, but it doesn't matter too much. Blank crossing 60%. AHQ need to find something out of this fight. Huge Earth Shatter coming in there. It manages to find a fair few, but Trill and Eat Up still managing to find the kills. Don't get hit by that Earth Shatter and clean up the back line of AHQ.
Well, triple DPS is definitely AHQ's weakness currently. They struggled against this on Village. They're struggling again onto Shrine. Shrine, something that they won previously, were already at 76%. Every time you get one of the DPSs on Blank, the other two just completely annihilate you from the other sides. Having a grab eaten by Kiki as well is absolutely not what you want.
Yeah, AHQ not going to be feeling good after that fight there. Blank crossing 90% now. AHQ need to get in here on the next fight, but Atar with the blade takes Dizzy down instantly. Crappy's going to be next to fall. Eddie Boss is dead as well. Kalman drops as well. Atar hacking and slashing up in the back lines there. Huge stuff from him. Charge comes through as well, flexing all over this one, and it looks like Blank are going to take this one out 3-1.
3-1, it almost looked like it could have gone all 5. I mean, technically, Detonated took it all to a complete 5
But that was against a different
it was a very, Blank. I guess it was a different Blank, but I mean, wow, AHQ, I did not expect them to struggle as much as they did. Atar, definitely man of the match here.
Yeah, they really found their stride on the second map, but Blank really sort of worked them out there.
This was the first fight. That's how he got the Dragon Blade so quickly. He just manages to get enough damage onto, I believe it was Crap. He got the reflex kill on him as well and just got the 100%, but he got it so quickly. I don't think anyone expected the Dragon Blade to come out so soon.
I mean, the transformation from Atar day 1 to now Atar on day 4 is just absolutely immense now. He's looking like that machine that we are so used to seeing, and I just can't believe it right there. It looked like that first fight, obviously in the way of AHQ, they get the first cap there, and then Atar single-handedly saving it for Blank.
I got to really commend Dizzy though. Still, he absolutely showed up. Particularly it was on the first Shrine that we saw, and realistically on all the maps of Nepal. Even when Blank were severely winning on Village, Dizzy was still getting kills solo by himself. He gets 2 kills on the side. none of the rest of his teammates were actually there to help. It was just Dizzy only getting the kills, and the rest of his team, the fact that they weren't there to help him is a little bit concerning. It's impressive that he can do that on his own, but realistically, if HQ were there to capitalize on it, that could have been a different game. So
it was extremely slippery in a lot of these fights, and I think maybe it's what they're really trying to go for,
and on McCree as well. Like, he's getting the kills on McCree, he's getting the kills on Tracer. The man's shown up.
Yeah, like Apudo last night was just, he was just dying a lot of the time. You know, ATAR was all over him there, but somehow Dizzy, he's even elusive on McCree. You know, he's just a walking turret, but yet still, no one's really contesting him, and he's finding those early kills, which really opened it up at the start of a lot of those maps for them there. ATAR doesn't even need to worry about him. He's just killing the supports instead, and that's working out, I guess, much better for Blank.
And triple DPS is definitely the way to go for Blank. If Flash Wolves are looking right now, they should understand that this is what they're going to have to be expecting. Go up against Trill's Pharah, go up against ATAR's Genji, go up against EDUP's Tracer. That's the composition that Blank are currently using so well.
Well, now Blank do get to obviously pick map number 2, so that was AHQ's pick there. So now Blank going to have the map working in their favor. Should be good to work off the momentum off the first one.
Yeah, it's going to be a hybrid as well, and I would hazard to think that Blank would actually go for something like King's Row. Everyone's picked King's Row against Blank. I don't know. I don't know what Blank's going to go for on this one. It's we'll just have to sort of find out, I think.
Well, they are looking for that 3 and 0, so they are going to pick something they do feel very comfortable on there. You sort of saw as well the way they adapted as well. They might have worked out a lot of what AHQ was sort of going for there. I think they've sort of realized now Dizzy is that player that they really have to watch out for. But if they really just focus down the supports, you know, take out Eric right at the start, they don't even have to worry about
What you almost want is you want 2 Dizzies on your team, one playing...
The dream.
Yeah, you just want 6 ATARs. No, but you want you almost want 2 Dizzies, one playing McCree and one playing Tracer, because I kind of felt the problem was he was doing so much work on both of those heroes. If he wasn't on... To deal with Trill effectively, he needed to play the McCree. Unfortunately, if he plays the McCree, there's no Tracer anymore, so he also needed to play the Tracer, because Tracer was a big factor in the amount of damage output that HQ actually had, and a lot of the damage pressure that they actually had. So I kind of feel like I'm not too sure. I don't want to say Cowman didn't live up, but Dizzy just outshone everyone out on his team.
Yeah, Cowman was
including Eric, who you know, I sort of had quite fond memories of, but this time around, I think Eric got shut down quite handedly.
I mean, he is trying to play into the likes of Trill and Kiki, so it's not easy. It's not easy for him at all. Cowman definitely not getting Blank to move out of the way there, so needs to step up on that one. We've really got to give it to Kiki though. You know, again, he's doing those plays which aren't so flashy. I mean, obviously eating the graviton.
That's pretty flashy.
That's flashy. That's flashy. But again,
that's about as flashy as you get.
Well, it's as flashy as you get with
for a diva. That's like that's the peak. I mean, you've done it.
Actually, I did see this one clip today, actually, of one of the players from Apex actually doing the most immense amount of carrying with the D.Va. And you've really got to break down the game and watch it in slow motion to sort of see some of these plays that D.Va actually does come up with. You know, booping a Reinhardt off the bridge so there's no shield there, getting up behind, eating a sleep dart. I mean, some of these D.Va players, you know, they read on the game. That's the one thing that obviously really stands out about a lot of these D.Va players.
Well, the thing about D.Vas is you don't get a chance to be impressed by D.Vas because a lot of their work is good when you don't notice it. So, for example, the sleep dart doesn't hit your team member. The grav doesn't hit your team. All X amount of abilities and projectiles and what have you, all this damage doesn't reach your team. And you don't notice it a lot of the times if you're not really looking out for it. You're like, oh, it just didn't happen. Well, it didn't happen because a D.Va player was on top of it and matrixed everything that you needed to matrix. So D.Va is almost like a bit of an unsung hero for a lot of teams. If
kind of like the bass player in a band, right?
Yeah, like I mean, the bad things that don't happen to your team, they didn't happen because a D.Va prevented it. But if they did happen, you would know they happened. But if it didn't happen, usually you didn't realize, you know, what actually led to that.
Because like in a lot of other games, you know, the support players are the kind of those guys that, you know, do get overlooked. A lot of their plays, you know, we don't really talk too much, especially on the broadcast about some of these plays. You know, here and there we find, you know, the big sleep darts hitting. But now I think, you know, you see support players having a lot more, you know, more impactful plays rather than those D.Va players, which are very quiet, but behind the scenes, you know, they're doing all the work, but they don't need the credit.
RQT gets a surprising amount of kills on Lucio, and I'm not just talking about the boops either. Like, just in general, he gets a surprising amount of kills.
This is what I'm talking about with the new patch.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty deadly with the new patch. If he's getting kills now, he's definitely going to get kills later.
So I was having this talk as well. I briefly mentioned it just before about, seeing how they can sort of get to these positions really quickly and go for an early boof off the bridge. But do you think you're going to see Lucio be played almost in a Tracer-esque role? Like, can Lucio get up in the back lines and really deal?
Because if you do that, you're not actually healing your team or speeding your team and giving utility anymore. And if you're going to do that, you
may as well be Tracer.
You might as well actually just be Tracer, right? If you're pretending to play Tracer as Lucio, you should just be playing Tracer.
Well, for your pubs out there at home, pick some Lucio, do some Tracer plays, send it through to us. Let us see.
Or don't, and
or just be Tracer.
And keep pubs friendly still.
Good joke. That's a great joke. That's the joke of the evening right there.
Don't ruin pubs by trying to play Lucio like Tracer. Just don't do it.
I thought pubs were already way too far gone at this point.
Don't make it worse. Just don't be a part of the problem. That's all I'm saying. Be a part of the solution. Come on.
So, I mean, moving into map number 2, we briefly sort of talked about what we like to see there, and it is indeed going to be Kings Row.
They're like, you know what? You're going to pick it against us. Well, we're going to pick it too. Actually, the good thing about Blank here that I like is I'm just sort of taking a bit of stab in the dark, but by picking Kings Row, they're not showing another map to another team. So Flash Wolves that are watching right now, picking Kings Row is really smart because all Flash Wolves got to work off of is Kings Row because Blank haven't played another hybrid to my knowledge so far. So that's actually really smart. They're not going to reveal any other maps to Flash Wolves, and then when it comes to Flash Wolves games, then they can actually pick a different map or what have you. But revealing as little information to the other teams as possible is really good by Blank.
I mean, well, obviously coming up against Flash Wolves, they are going to be the home team there. So it will be Flash Wolves' pick coming up against them. So it'll be very interesting to see if Flash Wolves do go, oh, they're really good on Kings Row. Let's pick something else. And when Blank is saying, well, Kings Row is actually our weakest map of the lot there. So surprise.
Thank you. It's hard to say it's your weakest map when they've been consistently winning on it and winning quite
well,
quite
from our
heavily
knowledge,
as well.
it's the one map we've sort of seen them be thwarted on a couple of times, by the likes of Apudo on the MA Lakers and things like that. I think it might have been Snake as well, and the ESL Cup managed to take it off them as well.
Yeah, I don't know if about that, but just definitely the most recent losses were on Hollywood and Kings Row. But aside from that, Blank have realistically not dropped any maps to my knowledge publicly anyway. So if that's anything to read into, Kings Row and Dorado, but even those two maps, it wasn't like Blank just struggled on the map. It wasn't because of the map itself. It was because of something Blank did. They just sort of made some mistakes here or there, or something within the game happened that was kind of irrelevant in terms of the map itself.
We're going to be excited to see. Obviously, last night they were very dominant against Fireball. Pushing through without losing a single fight at all. Didn't manage to get the 0.1 hold. Fireball getting a little bit of a good offense of their own there.
I think Fireball actually won a couple fights on Kings Row because Fireball actually did manage to push their card out.
Oh no, on the offense they got.
On the offense, yeah. Okay.
When Blank were on the offense, they
didn't lose you're right. It was like a 5 minute. They capped with like 5 minutes 04 remaining, something like that. So yeah, they pretty much capped without dropping the cart movement at all. I'm pretty sure that for RQT it was the most boring game of his life because he just sat on the cart, Lucio gun out, be like, it doesn't see anything.
I got you, boys.
Doesn't see anything. The 5 players just killing everyone. He's just sitting on cart. But
and it's just like that the Blank sort of style of play. The two DPS players eat up and ATAR just straight up the guts. They get a little bit of momentum and they're like, okay guys, you just push the cart. We're just going to go over there. We're just going to deal with the rest of the team for you.
Yeah, Fireball, they really struggled against the momentum, but Blank are a team that are very great at applying the pressure and applying the momentum and really getting the most out of Snowball.
You know what I'd like to see though, on the Uprising arcade mode, how Kings Row's in the daytime?
Yeah.
What do you reckon about that? Kings Row nighttime, Kings Row daytime.
Well, I feel like, I don't know, it probably wouldn't really make a big difference to me. Is there another map
it's aesthetically pleasing.
I guess the thing is, Hollywood had that nighttime mode once for Halloween, I don't know if you remember, but when people played Halloween Hollywood, it wasn't really popular at all. People were like, no, you can't scrim this map. This is so different.
Oh, maybe people are too used to the nighttime here, but we're going to be getting straight into this. We've seen this before, Crappy just shooting the Sonic Arrow there, just to see what they're working with. Should switch off that very quickly. ATAR are actually going to be running the Hog in this one. Dizzy going to be back on the McCree, so Blank going to have to deal with this. Not let Dizzy have all this free time up in the back lines, just working away. Eric N dropping quite low there. Do manage to keep him up there. Eat Up, though, almost getting hit with the headshot there from Dizzy. If he managed to land one, that would have been disastrous there for Blank. And now AHQ managed to make their way up into the point. ATAR going to be getting that first kill there onto Eric. He got extremely low there, dropped that shield for a second, and pays the price. Now AHQ going to be forced back here.
Blank finds such good opportunities as well. Like AHQ, they actually made really good ground. They were just slowly pushing up, forcing Blank out of the hotel area, just making their way around. But as soon as Blank saw a little bit of weakness, as soon as Blank saw any opportunity to strike, they took it, they pushed AHQ all the way back. Still didn't really get that many kills, but a charge against a charge, both Reinhardt sort of just got caught there.
Oh, Crappy though, finding that kill onto Eat Up. Eric N out of position though, that's great. A great hook started by ATAR again, but that biotic grenade finds a lot of targets. But AHQ aren't going to push into this. Oh, and another hook coming through there as well. Can they convert this one into a kill? The whole hog being used from ATAR there.
Oh,
he gets taken down now as well. And this is going to be a super charged up Kalman here, all with the nano boost as well, up into the 90s. Going to be wreaking havoc here on the side of Blank. Trill trying to swing him out of this one. The Deadeye coming in as well. Looks for the block, can't find it. That Deadeye taking Gumba down up in the back lines. Even trades across the board. This self-destruct going to force Dizzy back up a little bit. Blank looking frantic to get themselves back on the point.
Eat Up out as well.
But AHQ, what a great first attack.
Wow, Dizzy has been smashing Eat Up on every single turn, and AHQ would keep this one going. That was a bit of a shocking display by Blank. I mean, a couple of good moments there. They've actually blocked out Kalman's Graviton Surge in the sense that they didn't block the grab, but the grab went through. As soon as the grab went down, Trill immediately just sort of face tanked Kalman and prevented Kalman from really going towards the grab targets. They couldn't get any kills there, but Eat Up has just been dying.
Oh, look at that positioning there from Kalman, picking everybody up in the Graviton Surge. Blank are going to be paying with their lives for this one. What a smart play from this. And now look at AHQ building off this momentum, pushing up in the streets, forcing Blank back, not losing any time on the payload, pushing this one straight up.
And taking a page out of Blank's book as well. Crappy's just sitting on that card as a one-man push. Meanwhile, the 5 members from AHQ taking pretty strong forward positioning. They're going to have to eventually back off here. They do have a couple of ultimates here to use, so going to have to look for a good opportunity on that one. Both shields up, looking pretty healthy though. RQT down early.
Blank not able to stabilize at all.
Dizzy is just landing these headshots time and time again.
And look at that, they get control of the high ground as well. Force ATAR back here as well. Blank having to take some of their own medicine right now. They know how fireball were feeling last night. Dizzy finding the headshot there on the Kiki.
Need a bit of medicine if you're sick.
Too much right there. And look at the ultimate advantage as well on the side of AHQ. They've managed to get so much done here without committing too much to these fights. Here comes the Deadeye as well. It'll find Gumba. He tries to sleep dart him, but it doesn't matter when you're dead there, buddy.
Eat Up gone as well. Very early on. It's falling apart for Blank, and they've still got ultimate. The sound barrier comes out, so Blank do actually want to commit on this. Trill goes down without using the Earth Shatter. That's an absolute disaster. AHQ are cleaning up Blank members, and Blank gonna have to give up this cap. ATAR, you are not long for this world.
No, he's not at all, and he's out of this one as well. Kiki trying to escape right now. If they find him inside here, the great charge! And the spawn's being staggered now here on the side of Blank. AHQ, look at this momentum pushing in. Gumba out of position here as well. What is happening? This is an absolute disaster here for the side of Blank. AHQ showing King's Row. This is how you play it.
And Blank are just feeding ultimates. They had an ultimate advantage, but they kept losing members. Now AHQ, they've almost got another grab, and Kalman's still taking up the front line. The only thing Kalman's missing is energy charge, but aside from that, the card is so pushed up. Eat Up down again. He's getting annihilated on every single turn. Dizzy, what has this man got in his pistols?
And Trill as well, getting up a little bit too far. Dragonblade coming in from ATAR, manages to take down Dizzy. Earthshatter not finding too much there. Nano boost here onto Kalman, drops the Graviton as well, just on a couple of targets, but it doesn't matter right now. They just need to keep these spawns being staggered, and it's not finding any kills with this one. Great sleep dart as well to take Kalman down here, but they don't find the kill there. He's fully charged up as well. ATAR going to take the commitment there with Eat Up having his back as well. They do
down to Dizzy
find
again.
some kills.
Dizzy is like the Eat Up hunter currently. I mean, every time he sees Eat Up's gone. Those pistols just absolutely demolishing him.
But here we go. Blank looking like they're finally managing to stabilize here at the very last second with, as the payload reaches that last corner. And now Blank, 3 minutes left to keep this defense alive here. But AHQ don't have any ultimates to work with just yet. A little bit of a self-destruct, going to have to be the biggest self-destruct of Lazy Titan's life if they want to push this one past here.
Yeah, so the Pulse Bomb does actually go down. Don't believe it caught anybody, but this is going to be Blank holding on for dear life. ATAR, very low life. Eat Up, once again, I'm not even surprised anymore. Dizzy is cleaning up house. 2 of the DPS players down. Nano boost onto Cowman again, takes down his counter by Kiki. Front line zone, Trill with the nano boost does manage to take down Eric in, but it's going to take a little bit of a snooze while the rest of HQ are going to push this one along.
Well, hits that Earthshatter there to try and keep himself alive. The Dragon Blade from Atar coming in at the nick of time right now, finding a triple. Can he keep this alive for the side of Blank? Eat Up is there as well. And when it looked like all hope was lost for the side of Blank, that Earthshatter from Trill really doing a lot of work there.
And no sides have any ultimates to go anymore. Kiki's about to hit the grab again. It's sort of been a grab versus grab battle. Every time Cowman's managed to land a grab, so far it has been pretty effective to varying degrees, but mostly it's been definitely working on AHQ's favor. So they just got to sort of wait for that grab. He's about to hit that sound barrier as well. AHQ got a lot of ultimates coming online. This is going to be a big push.
Yeah, Cowman going to be having the grab there. The first grab comes in from Kiki. They drop it very quickly here on the side of AHQ. Don't manage to find any kills. Sound barrier as well now. AHQ looking very strong in this fight. The counter Graviton Surge will come out there as well. AHQ going to clean up the rest of these Blank members very easily indeed. Great read there from the side of AHQ.
And Dizzy headshot still onto Eat Up. They're going to push this one through. All their team members except Eddie Boss now alive. Kiki is going to jump his way out of there. Trill on the Winston now as well. It's going to be the final stand for Blank. What can they get done here? Trill goes down to the pistols of Dizzy. Lazy Titan takes down Kiki's mech as well. Eat Up once again, getting annihilated by Dizzy. And now it's just RQT and Gumbo, the 2 supports. I don't know what they can get done. Atar doesn't even get the Dragon Blade up. That's going to be a cap out. And wow, AHQ, they've shown up to play.
Wow, very hard to deal with when you've got Dizzy with the Peacemaker just up in the back lines there, just doing absolute work.
He's not interested in peace today.
Not at all. He is a man of war right here. They still have, it wasn't, I guess, the quickest push of all time. You know, Blank managing to stabilize right at the end, you know, buy a little bit more time. But what a very good performance there from AHQ. Blank have a lot of work to do here on their attack.
I gotta say as well for Eat Up, I'm a little bit concerned because he stayed on the Tracer when I started to feel like the Tracer wasn't effective. He was getting shut down by Dizzy time and time and time again. I said, look, I'm not even surprised anymore. Dizzy headshots Eat Up again. That's just standard. That's just par for the course.
I mean, what would you have expected him to sort of go on to?
I'm surprised.
I want to see Soldier.
Yeah, that would have probably have to have been Soldier. I mean, for Blank, this is one of their really good lineups is playing Eat Up on Soldier. Like, he's really known for Soldier. I would actually put Eat Up Soldier as his #1 hero. Maybe he sort of feels differently about that Tracer. He's very good on Tracer, but look, if you're getting shut down on Tracer time and time and time again, it's time for something different.
I mean, I guess the way it sort of works there as well with that Tracer, it's very easy for them to shut down that Reinhardt, you know, having the Genji and the Tracer. They can really get behind that shield, you know, make him flip it around sometimes. And I guess that's the way you sort of can come out on top, you know, with that sort of 2-pronged attack from both of them there. But yeah, I really would have liked to see the Soldier come out from them there. That's one thing that we've sort of noticed about some of these Asian teams compared to Blank. They're a lot more quick at sort of changing on the fly. You know, sometimes it doesn't work out, especially on control maps where you lose that ultimate advantage very quickly. But on some of these hybrid and payload maps, I think you can sort of give it up.
It just sort of depends, like what you're willing to give up and what the benefits of trading up. If you're trading up heroes and you're swapping a little bit too often, you are giving away just a few too many ultimates. I think sort of at the stage where if you are losing and then you're changing up heroes about 2 times, if you're going on to your 3rd hero, something is really, really wrong with the way the game's going for you.
Well, does he not changing off that McCree at all? Same
I'm
with
not surprised.
there.
And Eat Up's still on the Tracer as well, so he's ready for the challenge.
Well, Blank going for a little bit of that dive comp there. Gumbo going to be hitting up the Zenyatta, looking to find that early pick with that Discord orb. Eat Up getting right up in the back lines, a really good read by AHQ. Falling back together, we'll be able to shut down that little flank coming out from him there. But look at this, Blank already up in a very aggressive position. Doesn't look like any of their players are going to be caught out too quickly here. Atar just looking for an opening, doing a little bit of chip damage.
Drop.
And he goes straight in as well, forcing a lot of these players back here. And look at that, Atar up in the back line, looking to find himself a kill. But he might get taken down himself, and yes, he does. That's going to be disastrous now for Blank's first attack up on King's Row.
Goodbye, Eat Up. Dizzy's not done with you just yet. Dizzy's not done at all. RQT goes down as well, and for Blank, they went for the dive. It was a very shallow dive from Trill. Great setup, good positioning, put the bubble down. Atar went in. Atar went out, and then he got killed.
Well, he definitely went out. He got put in the grave right there. Gets taken down by Dizzy, and now look at those ultimate charges up onto the side of AHQ. If they can work with Nano Boost maybe on the D.Va or the Reinhardt, it's going to be hard for Blank to push into this one. They need to find this next fight to work out in their favor. Dizzy goes down, Trill will catch him out. Good pressure from him. Good counter charge there coming out from Eric. Manages to find himself a kill onto Atar with a fire strike there. Transcendence just a little bit too late to keep Atar alive, but they need to find themselves kill. Their Graviton Surge coming in from Kalman. We've seen this before. He's got 100 charge. He's looking hungry for some kills here. Eat up in the back lines, getting pressured out by him. All this little bit of time that they've managed to buy might be good for the side of Blank, but with RQT going down there as well, it's going to fall onto Atar's Dragon Blade here. Finds Kalman, but a little bit too late. And big double self-destruct there from Lazy Titan. Going to be able to help AHQ hold on to this one. Can Blank cap though? Hit the third check marker right now. Will anyone from the side of AHQ decide to commit to this? Gumba throwing balls for days here.
Well, Dizzy's back into the fray, and it's D.Va onto D.Va action going on to the front lines. AHQ haven't given this one up just yet. We've got about a quarter of the cap just left, but most of the AHQ members, in fact, probably all of the AHQ members have now respawned and reset up here. Atar wanting to get a very cheeky little deflect, not too effective. Dizzy though, he's looking to eat up again. He's probably going to find him. Atar on the backside in a lot of trouble. Actually goes down, and the cap went. That was all that Blank needed.
And now they might be able to catch out a lot of these AHQ players as they try to go back there. Pulse Bomb finds the kill there without the Reinhardt now. Nothing to protect the front line too much. Kiki getting right up in the front lines there. Now Eat Up going to work, looking to get a lot of damage done. They will fall back now though. Don't manage to find too much there. Get a little bit of charge though, and that's what they're looking for.
Well, the thing that's thing to really look out for is Blank are not going to be able to work with any sort of snowball momentum here. In the same sort of situation on HQ's attack, 5 of the HQ members were already rushing a kid. They just had crappy capping the cut. This time Blank, they're going to have to slow push this one. They're going to have to push as a team, work together and make up the ground.
AHQ showing there a force to be reckoned with here on King's Road, trying to control the high ground right now, while Blank try to contest it. Kiki going to be falling out
of that
instantly
Don't want to be a part of that.
And now the fight comes in from AHQ. They're looking to commit into this one. Lazy Titan with another self-destruct as well in hand. And look at this here. Kiki finding that kill onto Eddie Boss up in the side there. And now, with that one player down, this is going to be the moment. The self-destruct coming down onto the payload. Transcendence now coming in as well, keeping the side of Blank alive. And look at that there. They do get pushed back ever so slightly, but they should be able to recommit into this fight and really take it to AHQ. And indeed they do. They find themselves 4 quick kills, make that 5, and now Blank should be able to push this one around this next corner here. Will AHQ have time to commit to this last corner?
Well, actually got a decent number of ults left, but I think they're going to really struggle. Blank are not taking any sort of forward positioning here. I think that might be a little bit of a mistake. They need to sort of push up just a little bit to that next corner just to prevent HQ from taking the fight that they actually want to.
doing it. The Lone Ranger himself stopping AHQ in their tracks here. Or if they manage to catch out the Reinhardt here on the side, this is going to be bad for AHQ. He is caught out of position right now. And there we go. We're going to see Blank dive into this one, not even having to use too many ultimates off this. And they're going to be pushing in, looking for some kills. But the retreat there from AHQ, very smart, very composed indeed. Still holding on to those 3 ultimates to work with.
I don't expect Blank to be able to make this next push around the corner. HQ got a lot of ults banked up. There should be enough to hold on tighter. Kalman as well, he's on the Tracer. I kind of really preferred Kalman on the Zarya, but let's see what Atar can get done with this Dragon Blade here.
Oh, good read from AHQ. They knew it was coming. It was an absolutely predictable Dragon Blade there coming out from Atar, and AHQ just cleaning house right now with Blank. Deal with the Genji and the rest of the team all like dominoes.
Yep, and Blank, Trill's now back onto the Reinhardt. Not a lot of ultimates work with. So far for Blank, the main mileage they're getting is out of Atar's Dragon Blade, but when Atar isn't able to get the kill with Dragon Blade, you see their pushes are really starting to fail here.
Yeah, a lot of that really coming down to the Genji player, but Kiki going to be on the Zarya here, seeing if he can get himself that Graviton Surge, which is going to help him push this over the finish line
here. The Pulse Bomb.
Eric again, slightly out of position, finds the Pulse Bomb, and that'll be Eric out of the fight very early into this one. The Deadeye coming through there, Atar not going to be contesting a Reflect there.
Didn't have the Reflect up actually, so.
Manages to find Ana over the backside, doesn't actually commit onto that kill just yet. Lazy Titan going to be getting a lot of charge hit again, being fed up here in the front lines, but it doesn't matter when you're dead. Kiki being the stronger Zarya today, going to be going into that one. Great Transcendence to keep the Zenyatta alive there. Gumba, what a great reactionary play there. And now Blank looking very strong here, looking to stagger a lot of these respawns. AHQ going to need to get out onto this one. Blank actually with a lot more time than what AHQ had at this point, looking to push this one over the edge. The AHQ players are just trickling out onto this. 1m5 to go. Can they find anything AHQ? It doesn't look like they can. And Blank, they are going to be pushing this one with more time to work with. We're going to time bank.
And Blank are a scary team in Time Bank as well. So far, Blank, well, I was going to say so far they haven't lost a single Time Bank. They haven't lost a single map, but in Time Bank, I would sort of even say they look stronger in Time Bank than they do on the regular play. Now, against, say, Detonator on this map, yeah, Detonator pushed them all the way into Time Bank as well. However, as soon as we got into Time Bank, it was like night and day for Blank.
I mean, I actually love that as well. It's something I sort of noticed about, that I said earlier about Blank, that they don't really go for those on-the-fly switch-ups very quickly there. They lose that one fight, they waste no time switching Trill up to the Reinhardt there, you know, getting the Zarya out as well, and win the fight pretty much instantly after these changes come in, so great adaptation there from Blank.
I wasn't really feeling lazy Titan on the Zarya, unfortunately. I feel like Cowman was so much more impactful on the Zarya, and yeah, it actually made a really big difference because just while sort of watching that, you feel like, hey, Zarya's not doing so great this time around. What happened? Then you realize, oh, it's not Cowman playing, and that's a big change up.
I was like thinking when I saw the Zarya charge up, I was like, oh, here we go again. Didn't actually realize that the two of them had switched around there, and I think that's one of those big sort of interesting things we've talked about before about some of these Asian teams, that their players play the same heroes, but obviously in completely different ways there.
I think that's just in general. I think most people, I mean, when you compare Pharah from Aita and Pharah to Trill, it's a pretty big difference now. It's enough of a difference that Blank say, look, Aita's not going to play Pharah again, it's just going to be Trill.
Well, AHQ taking a page out of the Blank strat book here, going for that dive comp with the Zenyatta on Eddie Boss though. Do have to deal with Eat Up on the Tracer though. If he does manage to get up on the back line, it's going to be hard for AHQ. Kalman though getting control of the upper hotel here, looking to see what they're working with, going to be leading the charge into this one, and they're not wasting
Trill's
any
caught
time.
out. Trill's so caught out. Okay, well he actually gets the kill anyway. He charges himself backwards, manages to get Eric in, and that's going to completely split up AHQ's push, and AHQ's going to be forced back for the time being.
Yeah, Trill actually flexing incredibly on that one there. When you think it's all over for Trill there,
he charges back towards his own team and takes a player with him.
And that was absolutely great stuff there. A little bit of the old the Roadhog Reinhardt plays, is it?
And you can't stop him either, because usually, you know, in a situation like that, Eddie Boss could have probably sleep darted him, but he's playing Zenyatta, so that's just not going to happen.
They get a lot of charge off that one as well. Now Eric looking to get up in the back lines there. Doesn't matter when there's a Reinhardt up in his face though. A lot of the Blank players now. Trill being the only one to drop low here. They can keep him up through this. They should be able to turn this one around, and indeed they do. They find that kill onto Eric. He pays for that early charge in there. Blank cleaning this one up. 10 seconds left. And now AHQ commit to this one a little bit too late there. Can they even get themselves back onto the point and force them in overtime? It doesn't look likely.
I would say no, and AHQ know it as well. They're not going to get the cap whatsoever. For Blank though, 2 minutes and 5 seconds to work with here. I would say it's very unlikely to see Blank not get the cap.
Yeah, the odds, may they be forever in Blank's favor coming into this first point. I really feel like we're going to see, again, the same sort of dive composition coming out from Blank here. You know it's going to work at some point there. They might be able to throw that first fight there, you know, build up those ultimates, and then once they come online, that Dragon Blade, boom, boom,
The
boom.
thing is, on that first defense for HQ and Blank's first attack is Blank sort of only managed to just get that cap out of there because HQ stepped off the cap. Now, if HQ sort of maintained the contesting on the actual cap itself, I feel like HQ would have been able to keep that one going. I don't know if you remember that, but they just sort of got surprised cap. HQ stepped off, it got capped, and then HQ were like, oh, that's right. We were meant to contest that.
Yeah, the first point hold on the first rotation of the map, AHQ were looking a lot stronger, I think, on point number one than Blank were. And as you mentioned, if they did manage to step forward a little bit, but I guess maybe they didn't want to step forward because it would have opened up a lot more angles for Blank to work with as well there.
I mean, it's almost like a lose-lose situation. Like, maybe if you step forward and actually contest the cap, you put yourself in a worse position, but if you don't, you just lose the cap and you lose your players anyway. So I feel like in that situation, it's better to go, if you're already committed to the defense, which they were, it's better to actually fully commit to the defense and make sure the cap doesn't go, because they managed to get the full respawns. Kalman's now back onto the Zarya. This is what I wanted to see. Dizzy still in the McCree, ready to shut down Eat Up again.
Yeah, or not only that as well, Dizzy will be able to find a lot of damage.
He's ready to shut down Trill too. Look at this triple DPS.
And but this could also work out here. Now Trill going to be looking to get position over here. Eats a lot of damage in that one. And look at this, AHQ. They're very good at sort of stepping back together, you know, hiding behind that Reinhardt shield. Now it's going to be Kiki jumping in a little bit too soon there. But Eat Up actually finds that kill onto Dizzy, and he's been the issue, you know, that Blank is having.
Oh, Cal, man, this is why you want this man onto Zarya.
Cleaning up right there, getting himself a lot of charge off this one as well. Going to be working up this momentum. Looking to chase down Gun, but doesn't overcommit too much. So smart play there from Kalman to fall back now to the rest of the AHQ side. And now Blank going to have to rethink their strategy a little bit here.
Yeah, mess with the ball, get the horns. That's what he says.
or mess with the spiky pink hair, get the energy gun.
Something like that. 1 minute and 5 seconds left to go. So far, the triple DPS attack has been deflected. AVRL and team ready for round number 2. Gets a flashbang in the face. 30 health left remaining. Almost goes down, but Dizzy still managed to pick up 2. Eat up in the meantime. Actually gets to kill the return trade onto Dizzy's, but it's 4 and 4. Calman picks it up onto AVRL, and I don't think Blank have enough firepower to clean this one up. 80 charge as well to Calman. This guy is holding the line.
38 seconds left. Blank need to find something soon. AHQ, an absolute brick wall here on the first point of King's Row. Blank not being able to find any openings at all, and still quite far away from some of these ultimates here, but AVRL going to be hitting that Dragon Blade. If they catch him with a flashbang, it's going to be disastrous. Only finds Crappy though, and now it's a lot of this is going to fall onto Trill, but Calman has got that Graviton, doesn't even need to use it when he takes down Kiki there, and there he goes.
10 seconds left.
It doesn't matter, the Deadeye picks up a double, and look at this, AHQ are going to be able to hold us on point number 1 now as well, unless Trill can go absolutely insane with the barrage. Huge sleep there as well, and that's going to be all she wrote for the side of Blank. Can Kiki keep it alive though, actually? Well, no, he can't. No, he can't. No, he can't.
And we're gonna go to the golden cap, the golden single round. RQT saying, did you see that? And Trill saying, yeah, I did. That was
bad.
Not the best. Not the best. We're gonna go to a single point of control. Now, I don't know exactly what the rules are in determining who picks it or how it gets picked, but I don't think it's gonna be Nepal. It's never been, whenever we've seen a single control, it's never been on a control that we've already played.
We've got a little bit of instant replay going on here.
It's great that his name is Dizzy, because when flashbang somebody, that's exactly how you feel.
Well, a lot of the time when he's on Tracer, he's just spazzing out immensely, you know.
But look at that, 2 quick headshots. It's like Trill gone, RQT gone. I think that's exactly what RQT was sort of pointing at. It was like, wow, we both just got annihilated. We got wrecked.
Surely not.
Did you see you get headshot? Because I got headshot too.
Surely they were a bit more strategical than just.
No, they weren't.
Oh, bro, you just got wrecked.
Oh, RQT, what are we going to do for the next map? I don't know, but we got wrecked.
Let's hopefully we don't get wrecked in the next map.
I don't know, but yeah, it's very even play. I have to still say though, overall, Blank had the better performance on King's Row. We consider times, yeah, Blank actually managed to get the full cap on attack in a faster time. But
I mean, overall, yes.
Overall,
but first point
defensively though, with Blank, with the amount of time they had to work with on that attack, you think with 2 minutes and 5 seconds, they really should be able to cap that one out. And to really not is a bit of a concerning issue. And the actual pressing issue, even beyond that, is the fact that have AHQ now figured out how to deal with this triple DPS? Putting Dizzy on the McCree, is that the answer to the triple DPS? I'm sort of thinking yes, because AHQ have so far really struggled. It actually is going to be Nepal, so don't mind anything else I've just said, because I don't know how it gets decided. Last time was Ilios, the time before that was Nepal. This time it's Nepal again.
Do you reckon they just randomize it? You know, they've just got a big wheel of like, okay, we've got the tiebreaker maps here and just like spin it?
One of those like ticking?
Yeah. Maybe we should get one of those out on the stream, you know, just... We get to pick the map here on the English broadcast.
Yeah, it's map picking time. It's actually a lottery. The balls spin around and
oh, it's like lotto, is it?
It comes out and it's like, Nepal it is.
I assume that maybe the home team get to pick it?
That would be interesting. If the home team get to pick it, it's a lot of advantages for the home team. I mean, home team now get to also pick the opponent's heroes that they play. Oh. Home team get to
home team just get to win. Do they just get to win?
Home team get to pick if they win or lose. That's really what they get to pick.
So I mean, Blank had a very strong showing here before. Obviously, when we went to Nepal in the first map. So I mean,
they did, but they still struggled against Dizzy. I mean, it's almost like AVRL versus Dizzy in a way. Like, AVRL in Nepal was a huge factor. AVRL in King's Row, you got to say he wasn't as big on King's Row at all. Not even close.
No, it looks like, you know, he gets some of these Dragon Blades out and then sort of hacks and slashes, you know, finds a lot of kills in some of them, and then some of them he's just swinging at air, grasping at straws, just looking for anything he can find. And I guess a lot of that really comes down to his early positioning in some of these fights.
I just feel like he's kind of doing the same thing. Maybe it's the map time, maybe King's Row is just that much more narrow and just that much less room to deal with, and it's very likely the case, but both Eat Up and ATAR really struggle, I believe, on King's Row.
Well, they go straight for that pharmacy combo on the side of Blank. Going to be Kalman on the Hog.
Dizzy or McCree is exactly what they need.
They call him the Hogman this game, looking to open this one up, and they still are going to have to deal with Dizzy's McCree. That's going to be disastrous for them. I really like the Tracer from them though, and this is the map where obviously AHQ were extremely strong, but Blank did manage to figure them out when it came to the decider.
The Hog pickup is actually really important as well for shutting down these DPSs. So AHQ have done a great job adapting so far. He does go down pretty early, but he does actually manage to trade his mech for it, so it's not all a huge loss, but HQ need a long one.
Definitely, and now Lazy Titan
they get Eat Up though, so that's good.
And that's actually very good there, because they were starting to pressure onto the Lazy Titan, and I think a lot of that effort should have been pushed onto Dizzy, as Dizzy finds the kill, and that's going to keep AHQ's hopes alive here. Lazy Titan being able to stagger this one out. Blank do manage to get the cap though, so that's going to be very good for them. And an extremely early Dragon Blade again for ATAR, straight onto Dizzy. Not having a bar of the McCree this game, finds that second one onto Eddie Boss as well. And great stuff here from ATAR. He is a man on a mission, wants to make up for that King's Row.
This is a tough one. If it is home team deciding, I don't know why AHQ decided to go back on Nepal. I really hope it wasn't, because you'd think you don't go back to Nepal if you already lost on it.
Well, 30% there for Blank. Got a couple of ultimates to work with as well. Looking good for them on this next bit of defense. But if Crappy manages to hit the most perfect sound barrier of his life, could work out for AHQ's favor without having to commit too much to this one here. Gonna have to shut down Dizzy again. Look at this, ATAR does not like him in this matchup. Goes straight onto him, and look at that, buys a little bit of time there. The sound barrier comes in. I'd say a little bit too early, but the barrage was actually used from Trill as well to no avail, so they managed to bait out a few ultimates from both sides there. Eric actually keeps himself up alive there. Amazing healing coming out from Eddie Boss. Kalman around the side, takes the mech out, looking to take the Diva out of this one as well. Eat Up though, finds that kill onto Dizzy. Now they do not have the McCree to help them out here. Look at Kalman, he's not even too worried. He's just playing Tracer right here. He's right up in the back lines of the Blank side.
And there's a lot of health on the side of Blank. In fact, so much health. You know, ATAR even getting hooked, not enough to get taken down there. Eat Up picks up 2 for himself as well. ATAR gonna get the 3rd, and Blank are running away with the 75%. And so far, HQ have got nothing in the bank. They've got nothing really coming into his 3 ultimates. They've got just 1 ultimate ahead of Blank and so far behind in progress.
Well, Dizzy switching over to the Soldier. Let's see if that's what they need to stop Blank in their tracks as they get to 90%, but they're going to be walking into the sharp sword of ATAR around the corner here. Here it comes.
Speaking of,
and let's see what he can find with that one. Eddie's out of this fight there now, just swinging in the air again, but that's all that he needs just to give the player advantage there. Trill going to be taking down Dizzy as well, and now not a lot of damage to work with on the side of AHQ. They just struggle themselves to force their way onto the point. The resurrection comes in now as well from RQT. No issues here from Blank. The rocket barrage as well, overtime ticking down. Crappy trying to keep this one alive. He cannot do it, and Blank are going to be picking up map number 2.
2-0 so far, but that was a pretty close 2-0 series. I mean, maybe not the first. Nepal was slightly more favored for Blank, but King's Row realistically could have gone either way. And if you're AHQ right now, on some level, you got to feel a little bit robbed out of that.
I mean, yes, indeed. They definitely had a great showing on the King's Row there. That pulse bomb finding a little bit of work there, but the cleanup here from Eat Up. Him and ATAR just working so very well tonight. Very well-oiled machine. It looks like they're actually on the. They're a little bit telepathic here this evening.
So map-wise, though, here's the difficulty. When we go into control, it's much harder to deal with the triple DPS. On a hybrid map, on an escort map that's got much closer corridors such as King's Row, that's when Dizzy has more room to work with. That's how he can actually get those, I wouldn't say easy kills, but get those very consistent kills on both Eat Up and ATAR. Now when you go into control, suddenly all 3 of the DPSs are all around you. We actually saw a little bit of Dizzy's positioning there. He found it really hard to find the right place to both A, look at, and B, to also position himself, because he's getting attacked from all angles, and against both a Genji and a Tracer and also a Pharah, like what do you have to go for? Every now and then he still does manage to get Eat Up, but the other 2 DPS are still wreaking havoc, and they're still really posing a massive threat. And I can definitely see why Kalman went for the Hog there as an additional counter to say, look, hey, if I can get a hook onto either of the 3 DPSs, that's still going to be a kill. It's a bit of a backup strategy, but the fact that Dizzy then ended up changing off McCree onto the Soldier, it just still wasn't working out for them.
I think when he got that hook mid-air onto ATAR and didn't actually go for the shot, did you catch that?
I don't know what happened there. I felt like he eventually went for the shot. Maybe it got deflected. I'm not too sure, but it just wasn't quick enough.
Because if he did that, that whole fight I think would have played out completely differently. Because straight after that, ATAR went to absolute town on the side of AHQ. But it's just those little things like that where I guess it was a slight misplay coming out from the side of AHQ. Technically, ATAR was caught out. He did get hooked.
The thing about HQ as well, think about actually about Blank as well, is ATAR, the second time we've seen him on Shrine get a super early Dragon Blade. Now, every time that's happened, that's been the key factor, or one of the key factors that's really pushed Blank further ahead. Any player that gets their ultimate that quickly within the first fight,
especially if it's a Dragon
especially
Blade.
if it's a big DPS ult like Dragon Blade, there are no counters on the other side. There's nothing the other team can do in that sort of situation except land a very fortunate hook or get a flashbang or get a sleep. Aside from landing a very well-placed CC ability, any player getting a super early ultimate is absolutely going to swing the fight.
I mean, you reckon there's a little like ultimate charge pack that's just for ATAR when he plays that map there and just kind of runs out there, just grabs it real quick. Oh, yep, sweet, got a little bit more charge than everybody else now. Because I don't understand how he's getting it so quickly.
Well, he buys a lot of loot boxes, so Jeff Kaplan's like...
Maybe that's how they decide the map. Maybe that's how they decide the map. They've got a map selection loot box, just hit that one and it's going to be commons.
Damn! Nepal again.
Always Nepal.
Why do I always get Nepal?
Yeah, I feel that.
Well, HQ definitely feeling that. I don't know if they picked Nepal or not, but I think it was a big mistake for them to go back to that.
Well, they're going to have to make a very strong selection.
I feel like even Shrine, even of Nepal, if you want to go back to Nepal, Sanctum would have been the map for HQ to go back to because it's much closer. Pharaoh doesn't really work on there. You don't have enough room. Cowman can then go back on the Zai. You put Dizzy back on the McCree. That's going to work out well for HQ. But go to Shrine, go to Village. Those are the two maps in Nepal that compositionally work in Blank's favor for 3 DPS and do not work for HQ at all.
I'm just waiting for some of these guys to pick Junkrat,
Yeah, well, Junkrat on Sanctum is even that's like the only map Junkrat gets played on. But even then, if you pick Junkrat, sure, you get an advantage in the first fight, but even after that...
I mean, it's never going to happen, but it's a dream.
But yeah, man, well, I've actually seen it more times than we've both, I think, seen it more times than you'd really believe, but it's just got a lot of problems. I mean, the biggest problem with Junkrat is even if you win that first fight, you're sitting there with a Junkrat, you can spam the doors down, but as soon as the other team isn't just walking through in one tight corridor or, as soon as ultimates really come into play, and particularly when ultimates come into play, the Riptire is just a really subpar kind of ultimate. You almost don't want to use it.
No, it's much better. You're just like, just give me some more. Just give me some more.
It's almost like you just walk in with 5 ultimates and not 6 because Junkrat's ultimate doesn't exist. It's kind of the feeling of where Junkrat is in the current sort of meta. That's a big problem.
It's a dream, big favorite character of mine there.
I like him, but the ultimate's it's no good.
Well, obviously moving into map number 3, going to be AHQ's pick here, looking to keep themselves.
It's going to be Assault.
Yeah. So, do you think it's going to be Volskaya again?
I'm going to say that HQ are the team that are picking maps that are different to what Blank has played so far. There's sort of 2 arguments for that. There's 2 ways to look at it, and it's one that maybe you pick Volskaya because you've seen the way Blank plays on it, and maybe you have something in the bag. We've also seen HQ play Volskaya, and the last time we saw that, they went for that builder comp inside that control room with the health pack, and Flash Wolves sort of dismantled it the first time around. Second time around, they struggled a little bit more against it, but ultimately they still got past it. So for HQ, I feel like Volskaya hasn't been their best map. Hasn't shown to be their best map at all. And so maybe for HQ, they go for something different. Also, if you're Flash Wolves right now, Flash Wolves definitely want to see a different map because they want to be able to see what Blank are capable of doing on a different number of maps.
We saw their their play on Hanamura, how strong that was. Obviously, coming up against Detonator, struggling in those first 2 games and. Wiping the floor, obviously, on Hanamura, so I'd say that AHQ are aware of that. Don't really want to pick Hanamura into the side of Blank. Might be Anubis?
Yeah, it's possible. I think what Blank do really well on Hanamura is they hold that first checkpoint door, the double doors, that single entrance, they hold it very, very, very well. Typically they're quite good at running a triple tank lineup on that one. They don't even have to, even if they go 2-2-2 on that. You just can't even get out of that entrance. So that's something they do quite well in Hanamura.
Or maybe AHQ just go back to the random wheel and just roll it and just see how that one comes out for them.
All right, well, you know, the teams are going to get set up for map number 3. It is going to be AHQ's pick as the home side. When we return, AHQ's final opportunity to get themselves back in the game. We'll see you soon. And welcome back to the English broadcast of the Overwatch Pacific Championship. We're about to get underway with map number 3 of Blank versus AHQ. I'm AVRL, and here with me, Easy, getting prepared for that one.
Definitely, it's going to be a real kicker, I suppose, coming up into this one. AHQ definitely need to step up. Being down 2-0 now, it's do or die for them, obviously, and it is their map selection. So a lot's going to be really riding on that. They're going to be needing to feel very comfortable coming into this next one.
I think AHQ have what it takes. I mean, they have the ability to be able to, I feel like AHQ have what it takes to be able to actually win a map tonight, like a map, if anything.
A map? I mean, I think they've got what it takes to really take the series out if they really just come up with a little bit of the, I guess, put some super glue on those little bit of the cracks which are just in their team synergy right now.
Well, I mean, it's really, where they're struggling is dealing with this triple DPS lineup, particularly on the control maps. Now going on to Assault, this is going to be much better for AHQ. AHQ had a much better time on King's Row on the hybrid. So far, Control, anything even close to Control is not what HQ is looking for. Assault is going to be, I feel, not favored for HQ, but at least something they're going to be more comfortable on going up against Blank.
Yeah, actually, I take back my previous statement, because when it comes to those sort of those structured sort of fights, you know, not on Control, where you know a lot of the fights are sort of happening left and right, you know, they're not all happening all together. Since they can sort of, you know, have these preset sort of plans in their head, I think that's where AHQ actually really perform. We saw that obviously on King's Row. Their defense on point number 1, unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, AHQ. Yeah, exactly. Unbelievable defense. And going into Assault, the defense is going to be even more important. What we have seen though previously is Flash Wolves have actually dismantled that defense before, so it's not sort of, it's a good defense, but at the same time, there are definitely weaknesses there as well. Now, Blank, can they do the same thing, or are they going to struggle? That's the big question, because if they do struggle, well, Flash Wolves didn't struggle, so there's a bit of a comparison there.
Well, obviously they do match up after this series as well. Is it going to be a 3-0, or are we going to get a map number 4? I'm hoping for a map number 4, to be quite honest. We haven't seen a series go to 4 maps yet.
The thing is that if this doesn't go to a 4-map or 5-map series, I'm kind of expecting the next series to actually go to 4 or 5. But so far, 3-0s all the way through is, I wouldn't say it's disappointing, but I guess it tells a bit of a story between the skill difference of the teams.
Most definitely, and I think it's something I've noticed a lot in sort of the way Overwatch is. You know, a lot more 3-0s when some of these teams, even if they are very tightly matched, it takes a lot for teams to really, you know, take it to each other and have those even battles. But we are going to be getting into Temple of Anubis in our next matchup. We sort of spoke about that briefly before, you know. Didn't really want to go on Volskaya. They've seen Blank play Volskaya before, saw how strong they were on Hanamura, and Anubis is the pick there.
Yeah, I mean, I think Anubis is the only... Anubis is the sort of pick that we talked about as the one where we haven't seen either team perform on just yet. So that's going to be interesting. I'd like to see what Blank are going to pull out for this one. I know Eat-Up does snipe as well. We saw a little bit of Widow on Eat-Up for Hanamura. Now, are we going to see a bit of Widow from Eat-Up on Temple as well? I think it's a possibility, particularly on attack. Yeah, I mean, Eat-Up's, I think that's his, he's got 3 core heroes, and then Widowmaker rounds out number 4. So, you know, Soldier, Tracer, and then Zarya if required, but then also the Widowmaker pick that sort of comes out a bit more rarely.
I mean, I'd love to see it. We saw K4 last night go to absolute work. I think was it Ilios?
Yes, it was, yeah.
It was on Ilios, and K4 just opened that, that was a golden cap as well, wasn't it? Break a tie?
Yeah.
And, I mean, we've seen the strength, you know, how it can be so surprising for some teams there. And, I mean, Eat-Up has just got such immaculate aim. It'll be a pleasure to see if he obviously busts that one out coming into Anubis.
But also, you know, Anubis is somewhat Pharah friendly, so if Blank decide to go back to the triple DPS attack, this is something else that AHQ have to be concerned about again. The good news for them is Temple of Anubis is a little bit more friendly for dealing with something like a triple DPS, but nonetheless, it's been a problem. Whether it's been on Control or Hybrid or Escort or whatever have you, it's been an issue on just in general, just everywhere.
And it's going to be, I guess, interesting to see, because I think that AHQ are kind of struggling with the whole, how do you deal with both ATAR and Eat-Up? You know, Eat-Up gets shut down some maps, and then ATAR's there to sort of pick the slack up, you know, and then
also Trill.
And then that's the other thing as well, though, is then you've got these 2 tank players who are just so very good in the likes of Trill and Kiki. But the thing is, as well, is RQT and Gumba seem to be just outplaying the supports on the side of AHQ just that little bit, you know, managing to keep up their tanks at the perfect times, you know. You see most of the time Trill 10 HP, gets 10% HP, very, very low. And then they find that kill onto AHQ and it all kicks off. And so Blank, I think, just edging out in these team fights just a little bit, but we're going to really get to see here on Assault.
Yeah, with a lot of, I guess, the weight of AHQ has been placed on Dizzy's shoulders. If he can get those pickoffs with the headshots with McCree onto particularly EDUP and also I guess ATAR, but he's definitely been managing to land the shots into EDUP tonight. If he can continue to do that, that's something that AHQ are going to have in their pockets to be able to pull out a win. And also Cowman on Zaya has been a big factor.
It's going to be interesting to see if their AHQ can keep their composure. Obviously, a lot of pressure to keep the series alive right now. This is going to be their map selection. I mean, beautiful stuff here. It's going to be so exciting to see if they can really surprise us on this one. And I mean, we've seen their defense before. I'm expecting them to have a very strong first point defense.
Yeah, at the same time, I'm expecting Blank to have a very good first checkpoint attack as well. Triple DPS is going to be working out really well for them on that, and I'm fully expecting them to run it. They're putting Kiki on the Winston as well. It's a very aggressive lineup that's, if it's worked before against AHQ, keep doing it.
Yeah, and obviously, I think that's the other thing as well. If Dizzy manages to find his way to Gumba when he hits that Zenyatta, that's what AHQ I think really need to do, because Gumba's getting a lot of free time when he's playing Zenyatta. They're not really putting a lot of pressure on him. They're trying to take ATAR and stuff down, and they're really just letting the Zenyatta go for gold here. And having a look, it is going to be EDUP on the Widow. We are being blessed with that. Dizzy on the Soldier here, not going for that McCree. Calvin in the nice little position here, looking to get that early flank. When Blank push their way into the choke.
I think the Soldier is a bit more of a safer pick. I mean, it goes better with the Ana Nano Boost, so I can definitely understand what's going on there.
Definitely, and look at this. Blank is taking a little bit slow. ATAR actually going to be on the Tracer, dropping very low there, keeps himself up alive. Now Trill going to be the Genji player.
Kalman down.
We talked about this yesterday. EDUP finds the shot onto Kalman, opens it up there, and now should be able to go to work here on the rest of the AHQ side. Very nice slow push in here from the side of Blank here. Now Dizzy being pressured up the back line, manages to almost take Trill down, and Kiki as well dropping very low here. Oh crap, he's going to get taken out as well by ATAR. And this has been opened up here now by Blank. They're managing to stagger out a lot of these spawns. Now Lazy Titan needs to get out of this one. He manages to find a kill onto RQT. A couple of kills actually coming up in the way of AHQ now. Manages to put a little bit of pressure onto Gumba up in the back. Keeps himself up though.
Yeah, well, I mean, HQ, they managed to get a couple of kills here and there, and actually getting a couple more now. Dizzy finally able to get himself back in there, but no teammates to work with at all. He's going to deal with Kiki jumping straight on top of him. Looks for the health pack, and he doesn't find the health pack. Finds ATAR instead. A whack of this gun straight into ATAR's face. Going to take him down, but it's going to be short-lived.
Wow, that was absolutely great there, finding himself. I think finding an ATAR is better than finding a health pack in there, but Kiki still finds his mark, and now Kiki raging out on the point here, looking to find himself a Kalman here as well. Now Trill going to be hitting the Dragon Blade. Not finding too much with this one. Nano Boost as well being used onto him. Goes for a little bit of a reflect onto Eddie Boss. Now Eddie Boss should be able to hold himself alive here, actually finding the kill as well with the help of Dizzy. AHQ holding this one down. The brick wall defense from AHQ. Great stuff here on point number one.
Again, they almost lost that one, and part of the reason they brought that back was Dizzy coming in, gets 2 kills. You expected him to die, then he runs and finds ATAR, gets the kill on him as well. And then it took so long for Blank to finally get Dizzy down. The rest of the AHQ members managed to get back in on the defense, and that was pretty much it.
And this is the issue that you spoke about before. Now you see ATAR on the not as strongest hero, and EDUP is going to be switching over to the Soldier here. So a lot's going to be falling on him now. Going to be switching off the Widowmaker. Kalman getting very close to the Dragon Blade. Going to be hitting it straight away here, looking to see what he can find up in the back line. EDUP finds 2 there. Tactical Visor now coming in from Dizzy. Finds 1 kill there onto Kiki. Looking for a second. Great little hold here around the pillar. Not letting it too much damage come out from that one. Now ATAR up in the back lines here. Looking to take down Crappy on the Lucio. Can't find anything just yet. Being pressured out by this Diva here. Still creating such havoc in the back lines with Trill by his side. But the rest of his team are getting dropped now. Nano Boost here onto Dizzy. Doesn't even need a Tactical Visor when your aim's that good.
Absolutely not, and that's what I really like to see as well. You know, presenting multiple threats with multiple different ultimates. Use Tac Visor in one sort of defense. Force Blank to sort of play around that, force them out and get a couple kills there, and then come back with a Nano Boost. Yeah, you don't even need the Tac Visor for that. If you do enough damage, if your aim is good enough, you're still going to get the kills.
And 50 seconds left here on the clock for Blank. They need to find something soon. Do have the sound barrier there on the side of AHQ, so should work out there in their favor. Dragon Blade almost up here just on the likes of Trill as well. Almost getting picked off here around the backside here. A lot of pressure coming out from Kalman. Trill needs to escape right now. Does manage to find the rest of his team. Will opt to get back onto this Tracer as well. Good stuff there from him. But Eat Up gets taken down by Lazy Titan over on the other side of the map. He actually has the Tactical Visor as well. So now without this fight, Blank need to fall back instantly here. With only 20 seconds left, if they wait around too much, if they lose RQT right now, it's going to be very disastrous. And they do lose him as well. AHQ playing this defense perfectly. 10 seconds left now.
They got a lot of ultimates. They got a lot of ultimates to go, including Gumba's Nano Boost. They just have to get themselves back on the point. Someone has to get the charge in there. Someone has to actually touch the point itself. And then we're going to see the Nano Boost come out with probably Trill. The Trill goes down. Dizzy picking up the kills. It's going to be the number 2 for Dizzy, Lazy Titan, and Eric in as well. And what can Blank do here? Kiki falling down the wayside as well. It's only RQT left. This is not going to be a disaster for Blank.
Blank could not find anything there as well when it looked like they were going to cap the point. AHQ, such composed play. And who was the man, the legend that kept that one alive? It was none other than Dizzy there. And unbelievable stuff there. We talked about this just before going into this map. The strength that AHQ have, the composure of their defense. Great stuff there.
That could have, oh wow, that really could have gone either way. I mean, Blank had all the ultimates that they're ready to go. They had all the tools they needed to get back in there. They just had to get in safely. Now, what was the thing that really affected Blank was they didn't have enough time. They had about 5 seconds left. Someone had to touch the point itself. By doing that, that person immediately sacrifices their life. Now, the ultimates, people just started dying with the ultimates. Trill didn't even get a Dragon Blade up before he got killed. And suddenly, everything fell apart for Blank.
So, I mean, look at Crappy sipping on that water like a gangster. He doesn't even need to open his mouth. How's he even drinking it?
I mean, I just...
It's just like how he was holding the microphone the other week in his interview, you know? He's like a rap superstar.
He drinks like a rapper too.
Oh, well, what a guy. But it's... Oh, my goodness.
You think it's water, it's actually Patron.
But just straight Patron.
Actual rapper.
Straight Patron.
He's MC Crappy.
So going to be the work being cut out. I mean, he does play Lucio as well, so I mean, kind of works out perfectly.
Yeah,
Blank going to have their, I guess their work cut out for them on this defense. Really going to have to find 0.1 hold here on Anubis to force a draw, and we both know how hard that is to do on this map.
0.2 Anubis is really where teams usually hold out on it, but we've seen a wide variety of different results for 0.1 Anubis, and typically so far, most teams have taken up 0.1 Anubis rather quickly, and if they don't take it out quickly, they've at least taken it out kind of within a steady amount of time, but I don't think we've seen any team complete a first point hold on Anubis so far.
Well, ATAR going to be playing the soldier here. Looks like Eddie Boss looking to go for the Widow as well now, looking for an early little snipe here. Doesn't manage to find anything. Going to change over as well. Kalman though, looking to get a little bit of damage here. Oh, look, they catch Trill in a sneaky little position. He's going to have to reposition himself over on the other side of the bridge now. Almost walking into the
Monkey has to look
there.
for another tree to climb.
Very good indeed. And now Dizzy looking to get control of this high ground instantly. They're going to need to contest this one here. Gumba gets taken out by Eric very early as well. Eat Up finds the kill onto Crappy, but Dizzy's right there to get that trade onto Trill. This is disastrous for Blank right now. They do manage to pick themselves up another trade onto the Diva. A lot of this is now going to be falling onto Kiki to make it happen.
Eric's still alive though.
And so is Dizzy as well, getting pressure now on Kiki. By Kiki, this is what he needs to do, but look at this, no one can really contest him up here. And now Dizzy just going to work on the side of Blank, cleaning up a lot of these players, but they've still got to deal with Dizzy.
Early Pulse Bomb's going to completely whiff from Eat Up though, so it's not really working out so far for them. Dizzy still has that high ground advantage, may actually end up losing it now to Trill. To Trill. He actually keeps it against Trill, so Crappy gets the kill onto Gumba as well. Here comes the Attack Visor, finally only finds a bubble though. Where are the rest of Blank? He needs to be able to get something on this.
What a play!
Trill. Now going to the onto RQT as well. And I don't know if Blank can hold on to this.
It looks like AHQ are going to take this extremely quickly and decisively. Blank going to need to get back on and commit to this one. Is there any kind of Blank player in sight? I can't see them at all. Kiki comes flying in. One man with a dream to keep this one alive for Blank. This is going to have to be the most flawless fight right now. But when they're walking into the sword of Kalman, it's not going to work out well for them at all. He manages to pick up a pair. Eddie Boss is there to throw some balls in Atar's face. He's out of this one as well. So is Gumba. Blank now looking extremely desperate.
And unfortunately, Kiki's not the only one dreaming. It's going to be goodnight Blank just momentarily. AHQ take out map number 3. They answer back. Blank put out the challenge, and AHQ, they're here to play.
And we are going to map number 4 for the first time in this tournament.
I didn't realize there were 4 maps we can go to. I thought it just ends. You'd think after this, just the game ends after 3.
Well, that's why I said before, I was like, oh,
Look at
he's happy. He's happy. He's probably spitting some mad fire to them right now.
He's typing up his next line. He's typing up next bar.
Oh, look, here it is. It's going to be Eddie Boss with the play of the game.
I actually can't remember what this was.
Just throwing balls at Aita. A couple more balls at Gumbo. And then I think comes in with the Transcendence here as well.
I can respect that.
You know, always,
I feel that.
Always good to see the Zenny coming in with the play of the game. I guess now map number 4 going to be Blank's selection here. And I mean, do we even know?
It's Escort.
Is it Escort?
So it's got to be between, has to be between
Dorado.
I'm trying to remember all the Escorts because Escort and Hybrid for me is just kind of molded into one game mode now. But what is it? It's Dorado,
Gibraltar,
Route 66,
and
Gibraltar, the 3 that they can pick from. So it's kind of interesting. I don't really understand.
Well, we haven't seen it get this far yet. So.
No, like that's the thing. We haven't seen any of these maps because we've never made it this far. I mean, it's like the first time you're leaving the Shire.
It's the first time we're seeing Overwatch. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. It was like me, you know, when the beta sort of first came out, and I was like, please, let me see this game. Finally, you know, they've given it to us. And I mean, it's sort of the same feeling now, maybe like a kid on Christmas, finally getting to see some of these maps come into play. But I think, again, this is actually playing into AHQ's favor. Any map where they can sort of mount a structured bit of defense, it really works out well.
So essentially, just as long as we don't go back to control, AHQ's fine. And since control's gone just completely off the table since map 1, AHQ, unless it goes to a draw, are probably fine. So AHQ just have to make sure they don't go to a draw, and they have to make sure, yeah, that's pretty much it.
We're going to see the reverse sweep coming out from AHQ. Is it likely?
I think it's possible. I don't think it'd be hard to put your money on that, just because, I mean, HQ are still down by 2 games. Blank still just need to win 1 more. I mean, this is match point for Blank. It's all of these, the next 2 maps, if we even get there, are all match points for Blank. So for HQ, they don't have any room for error to make.
I mean, I guess the other thing to know there as well, moving forward, Anubis. Blank not looking too hot on the old Temple of Anubis there.
Yeah, unfortunately, Flash Wolves aren't going to have the opportunity to pick that either, because when the next match happens, Blank are going to be on the home side, and they're going to be able to pick both the control and the assault. So it's kind of good news in a sense for Flash Wolves. They're starting to see a little bit of weakness. The first team now to take a map off of Blank in the tournament. Gonna have to slowly add up the chart of maps that Blank have lost. It's now Kings Road, Dorado, and Anubis. So it's only 3 maps, but it's happened. It's happening.
The other thing as well is that obviously, you know, getting a little bit of a warm up, you know, before you go in to play Flash Wolves, obviously good. But I think now Flash Wolves might be quite happy. They're like, oh, let's go all 5. You know, tire them out for us, because I mean, the endurance that you're going to need to play all 5 of these maps, and then go into another series with Flash Wolves straight after.
So yeah, on one hand you get the warm up. On the other hand,
you get the burnout.
You get the burnout too. I mean, the whole stamina comes into play as well. How long are you going to go for until you've just played too much Overwatch?
I mean, it's
at the same time,
pretty good game. At the
same time,
play too much.
At the same time, Blank, I know they scrim for many hours a day as well. So, who knows? They probably do have the endurance down, but at the same time, it's not like you're playing at home. You're scrimming away low pressure scenario. You're on stage. You've got a live crowd. You're up against one of the best teams in the world as well, and you know, one of the most, if not the most prestigious tournament currently in the world. So it's a lot of pressure riding on you when you're live in that scenario.
And the other thing is as well is they've really got to deal with. It's that whole, you know, they're slowly getting figured out by AHQ, I feel, and they're finding it looks harder and harder and harder for them to sort of break that defense of AHQ. And so there's that level of, I'm not going to use the T word, but you know, it's going to be a little.
The T word is
the T word. It's a 4-letter word that begins with T and ends with ilt. You know, it's got to be a little bit frustrating, I'd say, for the side of Blank there. You know, having a little bit of a hard time to push in on Kings Row, finding themselves getting brickwalled again on Anubis. You know, it's got to be frustrating not being able to. I think
by the time we get through 11 weeks around Robin, every team will have figured every team out. There's no way by the end of that many games, all of which are broadcasted and of which you'll also be playing against every team 4 times. There's no way you don't figure out every single team by the time you get to the end of the competition. So any tricks any team has, there's going to be no tricks left. It's going to be actually Dorado is the pick from Blank.
Well, it is the map with the best soundtrack. I've talked about this before. It is by far the, at least in my eyes, the greatest intro song of the lot.
For almost 2 weeks now, like we've kind of forgot this map even exists because it's just, again, like we've never made it this far. It's kind of great.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see this one. But again, I think that we're going to see a strong defense coming up from AHQ, especially on that first choke point there. Blank, and we saw a lot of it being played, I guess, in the Australian scene. That's a map that a lot of teams, at least that I've witnessed, sort of seen them sort of falling back on. So I know at least Blank are quite well practiced here on Dorado.
I think Dorado is sort of, at least for the first 2 checkpoints, has really open space as well, which worked quite well for Blank's try-DPS strategy. I can sort of see the reasoning for that. The last checkpoint is going to be where Blank might struggle in that sort of regard. So we'll sort of see. I feel like Blank attacking-wise anyway, they're really looking for a very powerful first and second checkpoint run-through.
And I think obviously AHQ will be able to sort of figure them out though. It's going to be if Blank maybe go for that flank around the right side there over the wall, and AHQ are aware of it and obviously read into it very quickly, and shut down those first attacks, get themselves that ultimate advantage from the get-go. Going to be really hard to break even that first choke point. From what we've seen, AHQ's defense is obviously very, very good.
Yeah, well, so far AHQ have been defending on maps which are, I guess, a little bit more closed off and just a little bit, they're defending on maps where, how do I even say it, but a less open than I would say Dorado's first and checkpoint defense in particular. I feel like Dorado's a little bit more open, so again, working in Blank's favor, and where Blank have really been quite successful on control, specifically very open area control. That's going to be where AHQ might have a little bit of struggle, so we'll see how they defend in a situation where they don't have as much high ground advantage to work off of. Specifically, I'm talking about Dorado 0.1 defense.
I guess the other thing as well is that their Pharaoh, when they have that, who's been playing Pharaoh? Have they been playing
For
much?
who?
And it's for, sorry, I should probably use my words,
Which
probably
team?
use my words. For AHQ.
Dizzy.
Yeah, so he's, at least that's what I mean. It's not even memorable for me. He's been completely outclassed, I feel, by Trill when it does come to those battles there. And so if they do obviously opt for that on the offense, going to be something that I think Blank can deal with. And because obviously it's going to be hard for them to get that McCree into the position, so I expect to see Tracer coming out from them on the offense.
Yeah, I mean, E-Dub's had some success with Tracer, but also at the same time, this is the first day in the first match where E-Dub has probably had the least amount of success on Tracer, usually due to the fact that Dizzy's done such a great job of shutting him out.
And we're going to be getting straight into this one. Going to be Blank on the defense first. Going to be looking to get a lot done here. Don't want to give AHQ too much momentum off this one. And look at this, AHQ pushing them right back here. A little bit different to what we've seen. Blank not being able to hold them into the choke point. And again, Dizzy not being pressured too much at all here. Flipping and sliding left and right, getting into multiple different positions here.
Card's still moving actually, just strangely enough.
And that's not exactly what you want on the side of Blank. They actually get forced completely back right here. Kalman on that hog there, looking to find that early pick. E-Dub going to be playing the Zarya. Looking to get that early Gravis on Surge, but not getting a lot of damage done here. Looks like Blank might actually be baiting them in here. There comes that nano boost. Going to be Eric, going to be charging in there, looking to get a lot of damage done with this hammer, but counter charge from Trill finds its mark as well. Biotic grenade. Now Tac Visor coming in from ATAR as well, taking down the mech. No Devo there to help them out now. Going to be pushing back the side of AHQ, looking to take themselves down. Eddie Boss and Kalman as well, and this is exactly what the doctor ordered.
Yeah, for Blank, they charged up a bunch of ults there as well. I like the sort of early attack from HQ. Kind of a little bit risky at the same time. They're left crappy to just solo push the cart, while the rest of their 5 members looking for a bit of positioning on the side. I understand why they're doing that, but at the same time, 5 versus 6, I don't feel like they were ever in a position where that was really going to work out for them. But maybe going fishing with Kalman was the way to go.
And HQ looking to get up on stairs control yet again. Going to have to push into the ultimates on the side of Blank. AHQ though, do have a couple of their own to work with. Will have the tactical visor of their own. Trill just finding these charges left and right there. Can't manage to take out the fullness of the mech there. Earthshatter's
Where did he put that one? I think he just hit nothing with that Earthshatter.
Oh, but Kiki finds the mark with the self-destruct there onto Eric. And now Blank get themselves that player advantage. The flankers up in the back line getting taken out as well. Look at them stagger that kill there onto Lazy Titan as well. A little bit of a spray coming out there from Trill. Those charges he's been finding, definitely no chill.
Yeah, did he? I don't know if he fat fingered that one. I don't know if he just went a bit crazy and thought he saw something that he didn't. But that was an ultimate they could have afforded not to. They could have afforded to actually keep that one and not use it. So now Blank sitting on just a Graviton Surge, though maybe that's enough.
And there's no time being wasted there by Eat Up. Drops it onto the side of AHQ. They find that early kill there onto Eric. They get themselves a trade though, AHQ, and that's exactly what they're looking for right there. Not losing too many players, not giving away too much charge in that one. They do fall back very convincingly, very quickly as well. Do have a few ultimates of their own to work with on this next fight. ATAR going to have to do so much work here with this tactical visor, but we've seen Kiki do it before, catapulting that self-destruct in. A lot can be done with that too.
And unfortunately, the card's movement has not been so great. It's just barely past that first sort of little market stall, and Dizzy going down to ATAR early as well. Dizzy actually sitting on Tag Visor here. Should be looking to use it particularly in this fight, but Laser Time's keeping him busy.
And that's self-destruct coming out as well, not finding anything, gets blocked quite simply there as well. Counter self-destruct coming in as well, doesn't find anything with that. Eat Up looking so low right now, manages to keep himself up alive in that one. Kiki getting forced back here as well. Quick little retreat coming out from him. Can't get him very close. Big Earth Shatter coming in. Here comes ATAR with the Tac Visor. Finds that kill onto Eddie Boss. Good blocking now coming in from Lazy Titan, but he's going to lose the mech for that one. Eat Up doing good work as well, taking down his counterpart. Zarya up in the front lines there, and Dizzy as well. AHQ pay the price there, and look at this. Pretty even ultimates off both sides. 20 seconds left. AHQ need to get back to the cart extremely quickly.
A final opportunity for AHQ. They do have a lot of ability to be able to push this one through, and the cart is in a decent enough position that they can just get this one, get the cap point off one push, but not a lot of time to work with it. That's a Graviton Surge onto Blank. Don't see any kills so far. Eat Up sitting in the back line with the Nano Boost as well. So far, Eric Hen has already gone down, followed by Crappy, and there's not a lot of AHQ members left. Dizzy, the firepower is running out, and so is the time. No kills on the side of AHQ whatsoever. It's a full team wipe and a full first point hold.
Well, Blank have just got themselves their building certificates, I suppose. Just built themselves up a nice little brick wall there and hold point one very convincingly on Dorado.
I mean, that's really good because, you know, you don't get to see the rest of the defense now. I mean, what does the rest of Blank's defense on checkpoint 2 and 3 look like? No one knows because no one's seen them play it. So the fact that Blank have had a successful hold, this is just limiting the amount of information going out to other teams.
And I think that was really nice as well, that sort of final piece of defense coming out there from Blank. They don't overcommit anything right at the start. They really let AHQ play into them. And I mean, we've seen it, we saw it a little bit yesterday, you know, where they get a little bit frisky, a little bit too confident, and sort of drop some ultimates really early into those last second fights there. Don't waste anything there, let AHQ come to them, and then just drop the hammer on them.
Or don't drop the hammer, or drop the hammer in a totally different direction.
No, I think what it was when we saw that as well, it's because he was right onto Lazy Titan, and then Lazy Titan flew away.
He's like, where?
And then I think Lazy Titan was actually coming back in from the flank, and that's why I was like, oh, get me a diva quickly.
Give me something, please. Oh, God. He's just sort of thinking, it's like, oh, no, camera wasn't on me. No one saw that. I got away with that.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I mean, it's part of the meme around Trill as well, isn't it? You know, just hitting those Earth Shatters. Sometimes they're, you know, he did an amazing Earth Shatter later on. So, you know, we'll give him that there.
Yeah, it got half blocked, but it just curved around the corner. I think Eric Hen, he had his shield up, so he was safe, and one of the guys behind him was safe. But the two members on the right side of him definitely got caught up by Trill's hammer there. The Graviton Surge from Eat Up towards the end, though, the one within roughly around the 1 minute mark, I think, the one where he's sort of hiding on the archway, drops down, Graviton Surge right on top of them. That was a really important fight that Blank needed to win. That sort of set the stage for them completing the defense and kind of flipped the script a little bit and put HQ in the same position that Blank were in, where you've got basically no time remaining. You have to get members on the objective, but at the same time, you need to be able to slowly actually execute the attack that you want to attack.
Very aggressive positioning there from AHQ, looking to control
triple DPS again from Blank as well.
Not too sure about that aggressive position there from AHQ. And now look at this, they're not doing the same thing that Blank did, where they sort of let that cart come up and really just let them push through the choke point and then pounce on them. They are trying to hold the choke point very close up there. The issue there is obviously Trill can get around the backside, so can ATAR as well. And they are going to have to pay attention to these flankers right now. And there goes Trill as well, landing a few rockets there, getting a bit of damage done. Can't really find anything though, but AHQ got a nice little bit of positioning here themselves. But Crappy finds that kill onto Atar. That's the issue when you've got a Zenyatta, you know? He can do so much damage there, and Atar pays the price, but Eat Up gets himself a kill there onto Eric. And now Eat Up in the back lines, looking to go to town. But good stuff there from Lazy Titan all over him there on the Diva. And look at this, going to be forcing AHQ back a little bit. They're getting a lot of movement here on the cart. Eat Up doing a lot of this work here with the help of Kiki on that Winston. They're really providing so much pressure.
Spawn as well. Eat Up got that very, very quickly. They don't have to push the cart for much further. In fact, this is going to be it. A very fast cap out from Blank. Wow, that was a Dorado shutout like none that I've ever seen. It's a 3-1 score. Look, AHQ, they have wounded Blank, but it's not enough to finish them off by any means.
I mean, maybe give them a little bit of a scratch.
Yeah,
Wound's a bit of an. They look very composed there after that. There,
give them an owie.
Yeah, a little bit of a boo boo, or a little bit of a kiki. Speak of the devil.
Speaking of a bit of a kiki. What I really enjoyed about Blank's attack here was Atar. So Atar got shut out very quickly. But what Trill and Eat Up sort of did after that, Trill came over onto that far wall, the one that you can jump over if you're a Pharah, I guess, or wall climb over if you're a Genji. Trill came out over the far wall. 3 members from AHQ went to deal with Trill, and during that time, Eat Up found an opportunity to sort of sneak up behind them, and then Trill and Eat Up together worked to get a number of kills on those members responding to Trill. So, again, triple DPS has been the bane of AHQ. They shut out Atar, no answers for either Eat Up or Trill. This is what's been costing them games.
I mean, and the counterpoint to that as well is they do find that early kill onto Atar in that last sort of push there. And I was thinking, oh, this is going to be disastrous here for Blank. You know, AHQ should be able to stabilize here. But just the combination of Eat Up in the back lines there, you know, the Winston coming in and out, just amazing stuff the way that they sort of work there. And they can't really find an answer for the individual mechanical skill of some of these players from Blank.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if it's really that. I think Dizzy's been individually outplaying Eat Up in the series, but it's one guy against one guy, and when you're being presented with 3 DPSs, AHQ
and a super good tank.
Yeah, and a good tank as well. You know, I mean, Kiki's a good tank too, so both of them are really good tanks.
Also, I mean, Kiki's Winston in that last one.
Yeah, exactly.
Just,
so it's
crispy.
A situation where AHQ don't have enough answers to all the threats being presented towards them. And then again, in the open sort of area. So this is why I can see Blank picking Dorado, because they sort of banking on, I know that the 3rd checkpoint doesn't really work for the strategy, but they're banking on the 1st and 2nd checkpoints being very open and being very supportive to their compositional strategy, and it absolutely worked out for them. This is exactly what they were looking for, and they got exactly what they wanted, and getting the 1st point hold as well. I mean, Blank couldn't have written that one better themselves.
No, it is the fairy tale story there. Blank obviously picking the series up 3-1. You know, getting a little bit of the thorn in the side there. You know, losing map number 3. AHQ showing that they are, you know, they are a definite force to be reckoned with here. But again, Blank, you know, I think if Blank went up against AHQ last weekend, they would have had themselves a very hard time, to say the least.
Yeah, it might have been a totally different story. I mean, if Blank had the performance against Detonator that they had, which, you know, that happened, then them going up against either Flash Wolves or HQ instead would have, I hate to say it, but probably a loss.
Yeah, I'd say so. Or maybe even the likes of Hong Kong Attitude even last weekend, because Blank tonight and last night as well looking like a completely different team.
Yeah, I think Blank.
Well, I wouldn't say different team. I'd say different from last weekend, but the team that we're used to seeing.
Yeah, they look like the team that they should have been, that they're expected to be, I should probably say. The sort of the reputation that Blank has, they're now sort of living up to that reputation, instead of the questions being raised of, you know, what's going on with their performance. Now, they're sort of up there, but the interesting thing is they didn't get the 3-0, which means it is possible to beat Blank. They're not unbeatable. They're not invincible.
So Atar's a liar.
There are weaknesses that other teams can sort of take hold of.
So yeah, I mean, like, obviously Atar with that confident call last night, saying, you know, do you think that they're playing the same as the same sort of intensity that they were as last night?
I would say so, but I would say AHQ is tougher competition by far.
Well, we do have the interview here. Let's see who that's going to be with.
是要来
different
访
person
问到
every
我们
time
的
as
选手
well.
Kiki， 他刚刚在台下一直
Kiki
非常的紧张，说我很紧张，我很紧张，我可以说垃圾话吗？我可以说垃圾话吗？我说可以啊，可以啊。他说不行，我不行，我要很震惊的回答。所以呢，这边我们先来访问一下他的获胜感言。其实呢，在比赛一开始的时候，我常常就是有去问各队队伍，你觉得最强的对手是谁？那这里要问一下。大家都说 Blink 是所有队伍的劲敌，应该是最强的队伍。那他自己有什么看法呢
？Every team view us as the favorites coming to the tournament, and it will be the toughest team to beat. What do you think about that?
Well, like Andrew said in our original interview, right? It definitely gives us a lot of confidence going into the tournament's favorites. Like, we're very confident that we can actually just beat everyone because we've got very mechanically gifted players in comparison to all the other teams. And our comps are usually a lot better. We're a lot more like well-rounded in comparison to like all the other teams, and yeah.
他是说那个大家视我们为劲敌的，但我们有自信。然后他觉得说我们那个选手的单兵实力都比其他的队伍强，所以我们应该会稳赢。
非常非常有自信的发言。那这边我们来回到比赛本身的问题了。今天呢，其实有看到 HQ 的 Dizzy， 想问一下，他对 Blink 有造成什么样很大的威胁吗？尤其他的牛仔。
How do you feel about Dizzy from HQ and how did they impact the game?
Dizzy from HQ is a very, very good DPS. Absolutely insane. The way he plays hit scan is just on a whole nother level, and he was definitely the scariest player we had to verse on that team.
他觉得 Dizzy 的那个 DPS 玩得非常杰出，实在是厉害到不行。然后就 HQ 队伍里面，就是他那个让我们最在意。
因为今天的确一开始在尼泊尔这张图的时候，就有发现到，好像没有注意到牛仔，然后被牛仔秀了一番，对不对
？She's asking that on Nepal, we didn't notice McCree on the Sanctum, and he just came from the side and just killed everyone. What do you feel about that?
Well, it's definitely a mistake on our part, right? We were just looking at him, and it's like, I don't know, we just didn't really react to it.
就是说是我们的失误，但是就是我们看得到他，但是我们什么事都没做，就看着他这样子在后面这样点。
所以你有试图努力去找牛仔的位置喽
Did you try and find go and get on the McCree?
No, not really. I just stayed in a contested point, honestly, and was hoping that A-Tower would kind of do something. Yeah.
他是比较专注于站在点上去争点，然后是希望说那个别的 DPS 会去针对他们的麦克利。
对，队友应该好好去抓麦卡利，不然 Kiki 很辛苦的。那再来，我有发现到，当 Blink 在那个主场的时候，你们通常都会先选择守方，这是因为你们觉得你们攻方比较弱势，还是你们就是比较擅长守方？
Every time we play our home map, when we pick a map, we always pick defense first. Is it because we're better at defense?
Yeah, definitely say that our team is better at defense and like just holding points, not letting teams full cap. Definitely gives us the advantage in that sense, making maps shorter, making quick work of the enemies.
他是觉得，因为我们防守方式比较厉害，然后如果我们可以成功的守下第一点的话，就每场比赛时间都会就很短就结束了。
是没错，因为有看到国王大道在攻方的时候，是不是抢 A 点还蛮辛苦的
？We had trouble taking A point on King's Row.
A point during the overtime. Yeah, it's more of just an error in coordination on our part with our dive. We kind of just rushed in and didn't really think the whole thing through, and our strategy just kind of fell through a little.
我们玩刺客阵的时候太急了，所以到后来就是没有配合，所以就崩溃了。
对，的确在国王大道的时候是有一点点下水饺的感觉。那再来问一个战术上的问题，就是当你们是选择3的攻击手的时候，他有时候会选择星星，可是又会换成 Diva， 那这样子的调配是为了什么
？When we play 3 DPS, most of the time we play Winston. Sometimes you play Diva. Why is that?
Mainly Diva to contest Dizzy, stop his hit scan madness, and yeah, it's really the only reason.
他选 Diva 的原因就是要去针对 Dizzy 的输出，让他不要这么疯狂去杀我们的后排。
是，你看 Dizzy 对对手的威胁多么大。那稍后呢，其实要对上也是我们那个 OPC 的强敌闪电狼。那自己对等一下的感觉是怎么样
？How do you feel about another one of the strong teams in the OPC, Flash Wolves?
Definitely would say they're the biggest threat. They have some of the scariest players in Taiwan on their team, with Zonda and Bacon Jack being like incredible hit scan players. Definitely a bit scary. The team's definitely a bit falling, which I'm sure we're going to be fine.
这个闪电狼是 我们视为最大的劲敌。然后他们有2个非常杰出的选手，就是中打跟 Bacon Jack。然后不好意思，后面都真忘记了。
我忘记了。好，但是我来帮你翻译。最后应该是说，但是我们会全力应战的。
差不多。
好了，那等一下比赛一定非常精彩，大家一定是非常期待。那我们休息一下，精彩比赛马上回来哦。
谢谢。
Thank you.
All right, well, that's the interview with Kiki. I'm glad Serenity sort of kept that one in there. That was a lot of questions. I don't know if I would have lasted that long.
Yeah, I've got one thing to say about that. It's definitely the best interview so far. The amount of questions and the quality.
They were good questions too.
That's what I mean to say. Is that it's just that was by far the best interview I think. There we actually got a lot out of Kiki, and it's very interesting to see how confident they are going to be moving into this next game against Flash Wolves.
Speaking of moving into the next game, it is Flash Wolves coming up against Blank straight after this break, and we'll be joining you pretty soon. Can Blanks keep it up and get a win over Flash Wolves, or is it going to be a little bit too much? We'll find out right after this.